engines! Start your engines!
Ready. Green flag, green flag. All rolling. All the way out. Stay in, stay in, stay in. Come on, come on, come on. Bye-bye, run in. See you later. These guys are really good. Keep digging. Stay in the gas. Hang on, dude, baby. Did not hit a thing. Why are you waiting so long, man? Bottom clear, shaking you down here. White flag. Hit your mark.
Welcome on in, everybody, to probably one of the slowest news days of the year. All joking aside, we got plenty to go over. And a little bit of a different show tonight. I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, I looked back, Eric, this is the first time since before you were on the show that we only had two hosts going live.
Whoa, that's a lot of pressure on both of us, really.
So
especially you. It's like your channel.
Me hosting, don't screw it up. Eric, your internet, don't screw it up.
Oh, that's true. My McDonald's Wi-Fi is about to get exposed tonight. No hiding behind behind Danny. Which Danny not here tonight, unfortunately, but we'll see him next week. Are we on his channel next week?
We are actually. Yeah. Now
I
I just popped that up right now while I'm thinking about it. There you go. No,
so
Danny's channel next week. There's that
1 week from tonight.
Nice smiling boy. Well, let's let's jump into it. First half of the show, let's talk all Kansas, because there's plenty about Kansas to talk about, and then we'll talk about the slow news day after that. Also, Light Gold tonight is $4.99 in spirit of Talladega. Since we don't have Danny on tonight, this is for next week. If you guys hit $4.99 tonight, we just won't have a Light Goal next week. You know for sure we'll have Random Driver ready to go. Oh my gosh,
there you go. You can get your Light Goal out of the way a week early. It's like getting Christmas shopping done early. Everyone likes getting things done. Nobody wants to procrastinate. So yeah, hit the Light Goal tonight. No stress next week on Danny B's channel. I like it.
You know who else isn't going to have stress this week is Ross Chastain. He got the win, smashed the melon. Eric, you were there with me. What'd you think?
I know it's fitting that we were both there this weekend. Have we ever done a podcast? I guess some of the Bristol or Nashville races we've all been there for, but it's rare that the full panel, albeit an abbreviated panel tonight, has been at the most recent race. But yeah, Kansas was fun, and Ross Chastain gets the win. I mean, he's been knocking on this door for a few weeks now. I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I know the past month he's been rattling off 5th, 7th, 12th, 10th place finishes. He's looked pretty good. And if you go back to the spring Kansas race, remember he battled, I think it was Larson and Hamlin for the race lead in that opening stage. He led laps early, I think faded towards the end, but he had speed at Kansas in the spring. He's shown some speed recently, earned the second most points of anyone during the first round of the playoffs, despite not being in the playoffs. So this win didn't exactly come out of the field, but it is something, I guess, that two of the first four playoff races.
It's fitting that happened just now, but I'm
non-playoff drivers. I'm sure Ross Chastain. Oh, did you lose me?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Man,
it's all right.
Going so good.
It's all good.
I don't know where it cut me off, but what I was going to say was the fact that we've had two non-playoff drivers win, I believe, in these first four playoff races. I'm sure Ross Chastain is getting tired of being the playoff spoiler. I don't know if this part got cut off. He's earned the second most points of anyone through the first four races of these playoffs. If he was in it, he might be going a long, long way.
All right. Well,
I'm
going to add a little bit to what Eric's
quite the charge. A little Cinderella,
I could see what it's like a ventriloquist.
I'm sorry. It was fine for 45 minutes, and then we had to go stream, and now it's a disaster. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. I'll get you a Chick-fil-A Wi-Fi over the off season. That way we'll just
that would be an upgrade. Yes, I agree.
But I think it's I don't want to just focus on the playoff part of it. It's that these teams that might not make it, they still they're building too. And I liked how I think it was after the race. Pretty sure it was after the race. He was saying if it were Daniel Suarez up there, I'm not going to give up the lead. I'm not going to give it up to any of these playoff guys. I don't care. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for my team. And what I like about it is, there was a huge disparity, more than we've seen most of the year, between Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez. We saw the same thing. We've seen the same thing with the 2311 cars too. And I think with at least the Chastain side of it is, when you're not having that pressure, and we've seen this since 2004, you pretty much know with 10 races to go, you're already setting up for next year. And this team was not that off to begin with. It was just a bunch of fluky winners that probably shouldn't have been up there to begin with that got in over him. If you have a pretty normal year with maybe one fluky winner here or there, or two, don't have a bunch of crazy stuff. I mean, think of all the points he lost during the season when he was running up front. This team, to me, with this, is just fine-tuning and priming themselves for a run in 25.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Suarez has a chance. I know he's below the cut line now. He has a chance to get to the round of 8. That would be, I think, a huge overachievement compared to what our expectations were coming into the season. And Ross, had Harrison Burton and Chase Briscoe not won at the end of the regular season, Ross would be in the round of 8 right now. So, I mean, Trackhouse, they've had a down year overall, but they've gotten better second half of this season. To your point, that's, if nothing else, that's momentum heading into 2025, especially when they add SVG into the mix full time. There's still plenty of reason to be excited about Trackhouse going into year 5. Will next year be year 5 for Trackhouse?
Yeah, because they started in 21. Because I think the first time they were ever kind of like on the scene was Suarez being up front at the Bristol Dirt Race with the Gen 6 car.
That's right. That came out of nowhere too. The rest of that year was kind of a disaster for Trackhouse, but boy, they've been strong in the next gen.
Well, somebody else I think that had a bit of a disaster at the end was Kyle Busch. Now, listen, I'm big Earnhardt fan my whole life. Got a Dale Jr. diecast here sitting on my computer. Have a Dale Earnhardt scheme sitting on my mixer here. I am not the person I think that everyone's going to be like, oh man, he always root for Kyle Busch. I can tell you from being in the stands, one, I was like, no, like I was like yelling, like that could not have just happened, all that. But I've never seen this before. When he spun out of the lead, and he still was like 5th or 6th after the fact.
Yeah, he got back in line, didn't lose that much track position.
Yeah, he was not that far back. But when he spun out of the lead, I kid you not, I would say a couple thousand people left. It was insane watching just this exodus in the stands. Like there were people above me that left. There were people in other sections. We saw all these people just going down all the stairs with their chairs, all that. I never thought I'd see the day that Kyle Busch would crash out of the lead. And not only would there not be cheering, there'd be fans leaving the race in just protest of how pissed off they were about it.
I mean, this has to be one of the more brutal losses of the season. There have been some bad moments. He's been spun by Corey LaJoie a couple of times. I think about Indianapolis where he had a surefire top 5 and wiped out with 2 to go, whatever it was. But this one stings. I don't think Chase Briscoe did anything wrong. I think he's racing fairly aggressively to try and stay on the lead lap. He's a playoff driver. If he catches a caution, being on the lead lap versus being first car a lap down is a pretty huge difference. I don't think he ran Kyle Busch out of room. He held his line about a car length or so off the wall through 1 and 2. And Kyle Busch admitted afterwards he tried to force the issue. He's used to, in the past, being given a lane by lap traffic late in the race, but the past is not the present. 2024 etiquette is out the window, and that's where I think Kyle Busch has struggled in some respects. I mean, he retaliated against Ricky Stenhouse at North Wilkesboro. I think everyone kind of agreed that was an overreaction, but by and large, Kyle Busch is a fairly clean driver, especially by modern standards, and I just think he expects too much sometimes of those around him, and he forced his car into a really bad aero spot, and it bit him. I think Chase Briscoe, if he shares any of the blame, it's the fact that he was there, I guess. But Kyle Busch, the actual wreck is, in my opinion, entirely on Kyle Busch. He could have easily avoided that. I get why he felt the pressure to go. Chastain wasn't far behind, but I just think he hasn't. It's not 2020. It's not 2015 anymore. It's a different era, and I just don't think Kyle Busch is fully adjusted to that.
The ambulance are going by trying to go and save what's left of Kyle's season right now. But I kind of want to echo what you said about Kyle Busch, and I think this is a reason why, on top of being at a Chevy team now probably and not Toyota, but I think this is part of the reason why fans have kind of turned a corner with Kyle, but not like a Joey Logano. It's like Joey Logano will race in any way possible to get a win. Even he'll wreck you even if you don't deserve it. He will skirt that line. and he will go over it sometimes. And I think with Kyle Busch is like, yeah, he did that early in his career. Trust me, as a junior fan, I have my thoughts on different races or whatever. But by and large, for about the past decade or so, I would say since about 2014 or 15, Kyle Busch really just dishes back what you give him. If you race him clean, he races you clean. If you race him like an ass, he's going to race you like an ass. But on the front with Briscoe, to a degree, I get it. But, I was looking at the finishing order of this race, and I believe the top 32 finished on the lead lap. And the top 36, I think, finished on track. He's looking to play off all of that, and I understand that. But just off of, just off of that moment itself, there still was like 33 or so to go. It wasn't like this was right at the end of a race. This is probably over half a fuel run left.
I think so.
I would get the sentiment more if it were like, 10, 15 to go. I think at that point, I don't care what your position is, Briscoe should have moved out of the way if that were the case.
Sure.
I think that there should be respect for the battle for the win, regardless of where you're at.
Under 10 to go for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know where that line is, but with 30 plus to go, I don't feel he was obligated to move.
And he held his line. He didn't move
that's
up.
the thing. He didn't. If it's one thing if Busch rolls to his outside and Briscoe tries to shut the door and it's really tight. Like I didn't see that. At least not from my view. It was aggressive, and it's one of those things where Kyle Busch, I think, is going to remember that. He's going to remember that in the back of his mind. But I don't think it was dirty. I don't even think it was foul in this case. I think it was Kyle Busch just not having awareness in 2024. He admitted after the race that he tried to force something that he wasn't being given to him. So, it was his fault. The circumstances weren't great. He was in a bad spot, but he put himself in a worse spot. And that's just modern day Kyle Busch pressing a little bit because he wants to win. He's won a race every year of his career. He's nearing the end of the season, and it's been a disappointing season. I think he's just pressing. We talked before the show about this, Jarrett, but it reminds both of us, I think, a little of post-2017 Jimmy Johnson. When I think about the Roval, remember when he was racing Truex in 2018 and just made a mistake, and the last time it took them both out. Like, we started to see that from Jimmy towards the end of his career because he too was pressing to get wins. They were fewer and farther between. I'm not going to say Kyle Busch will never win again. I don't think that he truly is 2018 Jimmy Johnson, but it is harder to win now than it was for him 5 years ago. And that's why you're seeing him overstep and make these mistakes.
And I'll say that I do think, though, I pointed this out yesterday when I put a video out about it. I think it is a valid question, though. Because in 2018, if you ask any of us, Jimmy Johnson's running like 14th, 15th in the points, but he'll win again. He's Jimmy Johnson, and he has not won again. And now with Kyle Busch, it's not as much the age cliff yet, because I think he's turned 40 next year. For me, it's just RCR. I can't trust him. People. I saw a lot of people like, hey, he's shown speed in recent weeks. It's like, yeah, so did Dale Jr. at the end of 2017, and he's those Hendrick cars didn't get better the next year. Had he raced, he's probably not winning a race. There's a few other. Matt Kenseth, he was close to a win, I believe, in 2019. Came back and had one good race in 2020, and other than that was a no-show. So it's like, I don't think it's one of those non-zero chances of he'll win again. Like, it's Kyle Busch. Well, I don't think it's been, it's Kyle Busch since 2019. He has slowly but steadily went downhill, and he's not going to get into possibly better equipment until 2026 at this point.
Yeah, if I were a betting man, I think Kyle Busch wins again. But to your point, it's not impossible that he doesn't. It's just not, especially in Richard Childress Racing equipment. I'm putting this wreck mostly on Kyle Busch. I do think he ultimately made the mistake that caused the spin, but he is better than the equipment he is racing more times than not currently at RCR. Kyle Busch hasn't forgotten how to drive. I don't think he's fully acclimated to the next gen car, whether that's driving off the right front, whether that's like this case, the etiquette between racers. I don't think he's fully adapted to the modern day, but he's still extremely talented. And if they give him good cars like they did at the start of 2023, he's going to win races. So I'm not ready. How old is Kyle Busch? Is he 40?
He'll be 40 next year.
So he's I think he's going to win. Jimmy's last win came at what, 42, 43?
41.
Was it 41?
Mhm.
Well, I think Kyle wins in next year. Like if I was right now going to bet, does Kyle Busch make the playoffs next year? I would shoot. I was going to say for sure, but this year, I mean, shoot, Chris Buescher and Ross Chastain and Bubba Wallace missed the playoffs, but I would say yes. Right now, if I had to put money on it, I would lean towards Kyle Busch getting a win next season.
I said this as a junior fan. I remember how good he was in like 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, he had this awesome resurgence. Won the race at Phoenix, but if you want to talk about a race like he actually won, like was out there, crossed the line, checkered flag flying, I believe he was 40. And, yes, the concussions took him out, but the next year, 2016, he ran up front. I think he had like 4 or 5 second place finishes, lucked into some of those, but he was not the same driver that next year. People just sort of forget that part. Like he was not as fast next year. And that's with Kyle Busch. He reminds me of a better 2018 Jimmy Johnson in a lot of ways, just because I think the pace is a little bit better.
Did Jimmy make the playoffs that year? I can't remember.
He did.
He snuck in the Lowe's for Pros car.
Yeah, like with Kyle is like Kyle is overdriven it way more than Jimmy did that year. Like Jimmy just had bad luck at times, or he was running where bad luck would strike.
He still has bad luck apparently.
I think I don't know like what deal he made with the devil to get those 7 championships, but I hope it was worth it.
He's paying for it now. Jeez.
But I don't know. I have this feeling like if Kyle gets a win, like his wins. I'm going to say this. I think the amount of wins Kyle Busch has left is left on the number of fingers on your hand. There are 5 or less left. I don't see.
What's crazy? I saw some people in the chat saying, "Oh, these two hating on Kyle Busch as always." I'm like, remember the start of last year? You and I were both riding on.
I had him at 6 wins.
Yeah, we had him at 5 to 6 wins each. We were on the Busch bandwagon, and for 6 months we looked like geniuses. And then it's falling apart, and RCR's falling apart. We're not Kyle Busch haters. We're just calling it like we see it. He hasn't won a race in a year and a half.
And I really don't like. I don't think, like I said, he's overdriving. So yes, you can say, yeah, that's his fault, but I don't think that's his fault that the cars are slower. I don't think it's his fault that the cars are not prepared the way that Joe Gibbs Racing would. And let's not forget, he wasn't exactly setting the world on fire at the end of his tenure at Joe Gibbs either.
That is true. His last year with Gibbs wasn't his only win at the Bristol Dirt Race.
With Chase Briscoe getting involved with the 8 car.
Ironically, yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Funny enough. But I put a poll out there, by the way. Who was at fault? 55% say it's just a racing deal. 30% say it's Chase Briscoe. 15% say Kyle Busch is at fault.
Wow. Got to accept some accountability, folks. I mean,
we accept more accountability at this point.
Jeez. Yeah.
But, I kind of want you to lead us into this one because I think you talked to him after the race. But like Denny Hamlin, he was just in despair, and that was before the lawsuit.
Yeah, but maybe he knew it was coming. Maybe he had been up all night studying legalese and was just exhausted. I don't know. But Denny Hamlin, finished 8th. Actually, I think added slightly to his points cushion. Not much. Certainly not a large safety net heading into Talladega. He's only plus 11 points. But all things considered, not a terrible day. It was terrible on pit road, and that seemed to be the only thing Hamlin wanted to focus on afterwards, which I can't entirely blame him. I was watching him closely. He lost at least 10 spots during 2 separate pit cycles, and then on a 3rd pit cycle, they left a wheel loose. He had to come back down to fix it. They restarted 35th. Like, you can maybe overcome 1 bad pit stop in the playoffs. You can't overcome 3 awful pit stops. So, no, he looked and sounded dejected afterwards. There was the comment he made after he talked to me. He made to a Gluck, I believe, where he kind of said that, like, he admitted that he was flustered in the moment. I think some folks interpreted that as, in general, he's flustered, which he'd had every right to be. Lawsuit, big points penalty late in the season, podcast, running into, he's got a lot of distractions. But I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was just saying in the moment when the pit crew's making mistakes, he is flustered, which I think is perfectly valid. I don't think that's going to impact him at Talladega this weekend. I think it's a fresh weekend, fresh start. He's got as good a shot at it as anybody at winning or crashing out. But certainly Hamlin not happy with an 8th place finish at Kansas. I don't blame him. I really don't.
I think he should have probably finished 3rd or 4th. Like, I don't know if he probably
had a 3rd or 4th place car.
Yeah.
Maybe he would say probably the best car, maybe, but it was in the realm of possibility.
Shout out to these guys. I think that the guys with the best cars, at least at the end, were the 48 and the 24. Like,
oh yeah, I think Hamlin was right there with him. He was gaining on a couple of those guys, but yeah, it might have been those three plus like Chastain and then Busch or something like that.
And all three of us, when we include Danny last week, like we were saying, like Bowman, look at don't count him out by any means. I've been hammering away at William Byron, like he's gonna show up. Damn it, just wait.
He finally did. It took him a while.
Finally,
his first stage win since the Coca-Cola 600.
But what a time to have it though.
Oh yeah. He had the best day of anyone. Most playoff points or stage points, and I guess playoff points, stage points, second place finish. I mean, William Byron, we'll look at the points in a minute. He's now leading the playoff standings, which has to feel good. Yeah, no, absolutely. And Bowman as well. Bowman continues to impress.
On the other end of this kind of pendulum of Hendrick and Denny Hamlin's days, Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson, I believe 25th and 26th on the day.
I think that's right.
Now Larson's, because I was in the stand, so I don't know like the specifics on it necessarily, but I believe Larson like ran something over and then the underbody got damaged, and then Reddick, I was watching Reddick on that restart because like he
got boxed in.
If Brad Keselowski does not drop like a rock, he was in perfect position to make up like 3 or 4 spots on that restart, and it's a way different day than we're talking about.
Yeah, Reddick was that restart away from probably finishing around 9th and salvaging a pretty good day. As it is, he finished, like you said, 25th, and it's a disaster. Many had him making the championship 4. He is now 4 points below the cut line, heading into a couple of wild card tracks. I would say the Roval in a couple weeks is not a wild card, but considering how off Reddick looked at Watkins Glen a couple weeks ago, I'm a little worried about that one. He is the most recent Talladega winner, but when's the last time someone won back-to-back Talladega races? Has it been since Earnhardt? Did Logano or Keselowski get one?
Oh, I know Gordon did. Might have been Jeff Gordon in 07, but but there's probably someone I'm forgetting because I remember stuff from 07 better than I remember stuff from 2017.
All I know is Tyler Reddick. It's in the media center on Saturday. Someone asked, hey, like, the last couple of weeks been kind of a struggle. Blaney? What's going on? And did Blaney win back-to-back Talladega races?
So that's the thing. I don't like if it was like 19 or 20.
Because he won the fall race last year, didn't he? He won the fall race last year.
They're saying
Busch
fall,
won the spring
they're saying
race.
Fall 2019 to spring 2020. So I guess technically back-to-back.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I was thinking in the vein of like sweeping a year, which I could still be wrong with. So yeah, I guess there's that one. By the way, I put a poll out there because I thought the race overall, I graded it a lot higher, I think, than you did, because I think you gave it a 75, whereas I gave it a 9 out of 10 from the stands.
That's pretty high. Oh yeah, good. There you go.
I think a lot of people were weighing it down because it didn't have the greatest finish in NASCAR history.
It had a lot to live up to.
But I thought it was solid throughout. But I asked people if they think if it's the best track in NASCAR, and a 60-40 split says yes on that one.
Before we get off Larson and Reddick, I did just want to say like Reddick in the media center on Saturday made it sound like they knew what the problem at Watkins Glen, they knew what the problem at Bristol was, and it was going to be fixed. It was going to be fine. I know he had a better than 25th place car at Kansas, but this is a team that we're used to seeing dominate Kansas, and he was nowhere close to that. He was maybe at best a 10th place car at Kansas. How worried are you about many people's championship favorite coming into these playoffs the next 2 weeks?
I'm very worried
Fair
because they can say all they want that they got the problem fixed. I mean, I want to see the results. And for Tyler Reddick, almost all year round, it has been results, top 10s, top 5s. I got numbers here. I mean, he's still the numbers overall compared to the rest of the series is amazing still. But he's now tied with Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell for most top 5s. And he has one more top 10 now than Christopher Bell. He's kind of fallen back to the mean.
He's back in the pack.
He's fallen back to the mean, and the way, whether fair or not, whatever way we view it, the system is that you can't fall back to the mean in these 3 race stints. You just can't. It's the way it is. You need these stage points. You need playoff points throughout. You need to lead laps. And I think that's like, I go back to Alex Bowman again, because I like seeing him do well. So maybe people will shut the hell up for at least 6 months about like, oh, he's getting taken out of the 48 for Corey LaJoie. Like Alex Bowman is up front leading laps now. He's up front competing for the lead. That's what Reddick was doing. And you're seeing Reddick go from like a top 5 car every week to now like a top 10, top 12, maybe top 15 car. And you can't do that right now. So yeah, I'm worried heading into Talladega, heading into the Roval, which I still think is a wild card. If something happens and you get stuck in the pack towards the end of that race, you're playing whack-a-mole with the field. So I'm a bit worried about him. Now he can turn around just as well and win these races, but let's also not forget, if it wasn't for Michael McDowell basically sideswiping the field, he was not winning that Talladega race this past spring.
That's true. No, I'm very worried about Reddick. We can look at the points in a minute. Larson's still plus 18. He used his mulligan. Bad luck, bad break there. He just needs to be good the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, and we probably, really quick, I want to just shout out a few different people.
Yeah. Go for it.
First off, Spire. Like,
Zane Smith, another top 10.
Zane Smith, a top 10. The 7 car was up there for a while. Hocevar led laps in this race, and it wasn't like, he led one lap on a restart. Like, he held them off and led pretty well.
And he ran top 10 much there. I don't remember where he finished, but he ran top 10 for a while. Yeah, Justin Haley's first race in the 7, he drove up to the top 15. Then he, I don't know, didn't hear his spotter correctly and wrecked himself.
Yeah. It's like, wait. In shades
in and
of
out,
Corey?
In and out like the burger. Okay, drive through.
I saw somebody be like, maybe it wasn't Corey, maybe it was the 7, because Corey LaJoie got a top 15 in the 51.
He did, but see, I think LaJoie in the 51 is a match made in heaven. I think he's going to run pretty well there. That's his like comfort zone. He's not going to go top 15 most weeks. Good for him this weekend. But Justin Haley at least showed a lot of potential before that sort of new driver mistake.
Josh Berry did not finish a lap and got stuck in the infield, and on top of that, another DVP flat tire debacle.
And this one's really controversial. The one with Blaney a few weeks ago was controversial, but like that car was pretty heavily damaged.
And a lot of it was opinion that week too. Like I remember saying like I don't like it. I think it should be changed. Stuff like that.
I don't like it either. But like the rule is, if you spin, have damage, and you have flat tires, can't drive back, then we tow you to the garage. And I'm like, that rule's pretty black and white. Yeah, it's a little bit of a gray area here with Blaney, but that car was not going to be competitive again that day, at least not without a trip to the garage. I get it. But this one with Josh Berry, minimal damage, like a little bit of contact, it looked like, if any. I mean, there's some contact, but not much. Car was fine, just needed new tires. This is where I agree with a few different people have said this. I don't know who said it first, but I agree with the take that if this happens to a playoff driver and potentially eliminate someone from the playoffs, that's going to force NASCAR to make a change, because this rule should be changed. They're not going to react strongly because it was Josh Berry running, mid-pack in Kansas, but I do think this rule should be changed. I like that the initial rule is written black and white, but I think we need more clarification. There can't just be contact. There has to be like real, like significant damage. There was like Josh Berry's car. I don't know that maybe the underwing was a little damaged. Maybe he would have run like Larson the rest of the day, but that car was fine. That car was that was still a lead lap car after that wreck. They just needed fresh tires. No reason half a lap in, he should be in the campgrounds out of the race. Like I don't think that's what the damaged vehicle policy is truly meant to enforce.
Well, and NASCAR is like this history of just not thinking ahead with its rules and having to be reactive. And I saw, I think it was on Reddit, someone just saying like, what happens when, I don't know, Ryan Blaney or Kyle Larson or somebody has something similar happen in a championship race? Is NASCAR going to change the rules on the fly? That ain't going to look good.
Are they going to look the other way? I mean, they do that a lot though.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, if not, are they going to turn around and Chase Elliott's championship is over because of this arbitrary rule that, because of the car we screwed up, that based on a possible, not possible, a lawsuit we possibly know is owned by NASCAR, their problem they created, we're going to screw one of our better drivers or popular drivers out of it. NASCAR also has this problem when they don't think ahead on these rules of it biting them in the ass at the worst possible time. And I'm looking at Martinsville and Phoenix, a track that you have people spin out at different points, whether you get, clipped by somebody, bump and run, whatever. I'm looking at those tracks as like the dumbest thing possible could happen. And it is literally no one's fault but their own.
I think the bigger question is going to be Homestead in Las Vegas in that round of 8, because the higher speed tracks, guy goes for a long spin, blows out 3 tires. Like, that's more likely than Martinsville having this issue, I'd say, but it's equally damaging or equally controversial because it's all that round of 8 where every point is heavily scrutinized. Definitely something they need to look at in the offseason. I need to go back still and find what is the reasoning behind the, what is it, 6-minute DVP? Is it simply we don't want damaged cars on track? Is it simply we don't want teams to have to bring backup parts to the track? It's a cost cutting measure. Like, what is the actual reason behind it? And is it worth this potential controversy? You know what I mean?
I think it's like a few, like it is the cost cutting thing, but of course literally everything they say is cost cutting now. Like, I'm pretty sure if like they asked you to get a 6-pack of beer instead of a 12-pack, they'd say it's cost cutting at this point.
If Stewart Haas wants to bring an extra bumper, let them. If they can't fit it in their truck, all right, shoot. If they really want to rent a whole truck to bring a couple bumpers to the track, then let them do that. That's not, in my opinion, the same as like buying speed somewhere. You know what I mean?
After all, it's at NASCAR's discretion who gets those parts.
Yeah, never mind.
I'm just saying.
This lawsuit has now opened up a number of different questions.
Oh, this will define probably the rest of the season into next year, because this thing ain't going away quick, and we'll talk about that after we talk about this weekend. But I mean, it grinds my gears a little bit, because I get not wanting tons of damaged cars and debris yellows. Like I found it funny that it's like that was part of the reason that they were blaming for debris yellows, is like the damaged cars. And it's like, okay, yeah, that I get that. Maybe some of them were, but it's like I think it coincides with another rule change. But we'll just leave it at that. But one more thing I want to shout out here, and it is not one thing. It's probably about 60, 70,000, give or take, people. The crowd at the track was awesome in person. We were packed in like sardines at the Cup race. I had people all around me. There's this my dad and I said we needed to get this. There was this group of people, like a family of 4, and they all had headsets like a spotter does. We're like, why are they doing that? You know, like they listen to their scanner or something? No, they were using it so they could talk to each other during the race and tell each other what was going on. I'm like, that's
I've seen some of that,
genius. Yeah. Like, that's awesome.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know if like Racing Electronics like rents that out, or I'm sure they sell it somewhere. No, that's a pretty fun. That's next level thinking at a racetrack environment like that. Yeah, crowd was good. Seemed like a really good atmosphere all weekend. I know when I landed at the airport Friday, they had, right as you went into baggage claim, they had a couple big banners on the side that said NASCAR playoffs. They had they had a graphic of the Buescher Larson finish, closest finish in Cup history. Like, you know, it wasn't like a huge display, but like everyone who went through that airport that day likely saw these banners, which, you know, whenever little cities do little things like that, it shows you they care. It shows you this event is important to the region. And clearly fans showed out. It's probably because the spring race was a banger.
And you know, kind of leading to the bigger picture now after this weekend. Let's look at the playoff grid here. You're seeing, I think, the separation going into Talladega of who can have multiple strategies and who needs us to go all out for points in this one. I also realized that we're pushing we're already pushing the 14 and the 2 off screen a little with the point side of it. But William Byron plus 34, then plus 28 for Blaney and Bell, 18 for Larson, 11 for Denny, 8 for Bowman, 4 apiece for Elliott and Logano up over the cut line, which is Reddick minus 4, Suarez minus 14, Briscoe minus 25, and Cindric minus 29. I don't think I'm going off on a limb by saying that I think Briscoe and Cindric, I personally think they're in must win at this point.
I would agree.
I don't see it. I don't know, because
Cindric is interesting because he's earned so many points at speedway races this year. If he like gets 3rd and 2nd in the stages, that's 17, 18 points right there. Yeah, I'm not going to say he's in must win. I think Briscoe probably is. But Cindric, give me at least till the end of stage 2, and I'll tell you what he's in.
I just think with Cindric is like, he was so good at Atlanta, but it's like, I think that also weighs a lot more on
it's
how
easier to protect your position at Atlanta, and he has such a good car at these tracks that I do think Talladega will be a little tougher. I think it's gonna be tougher for him to hold his track position.
And here's another good big wrinkle looking into it. I'll pop it back up for a second. It's like, you can lose max points easier in this race because there's a full field this weekend. We have 40 this weekend instead of a 36, a 37, a 39, whatever. So it's like I think it's like from 36 to 40th, you could score 1 point apiece. Whereas if it's a 36 car field, you got only one person doing that, and it kind of lessens the blow a little bit. All it takes is a big one in stage one, and 3 or 4 playoff guys are going to be put at least 20 to 30 points more in the hole than they otherwise would have been.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, you can move on.
Yeah, I'm thinking of all of these guys. I think that, honestly, if they wanted to, the top 3, Byron, Blaney, and Bell, could safely pull the Denny strategy from Atlanta and be relatively okay. Other than that, like, I think the rest have to go for it. And I'm a Larson fan, I'm not feeling comfortable about Kyle Larson only being plus 18 because in 2 stages he could be, he could lose 18 points to the cut.
I feel everyone should start the race going for it. And I think midway through stage 1, you look around you and figure out what teammates do I have? How aggressive are folks being? And then, yes, if you're a Byron, a Blaney, or Bell, you might react accordingly. If it's dicey, if you're without your teammates, you might fall back and finish the opening stage in the back, play it safe. But if you have teammates with you, if Byron has Bowman and Elliott and Larson in a line, I think you go for it, because if you can get 5, 6, 7 stage points out the gate, that's a huge relief. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're not really worried about crashing out as badly the rest of that race because you just got 7 or 8 stage points. So I think it is situational. I think drop of the green flag, plan should be to go for it and then assess after 30 laps.
Putting you on the spot, which driver you think is most likely to lose the most points in this race?
I mean, conventional wisdom would say Kyle Larson's unlucky streak at super speedways continues. But I mean, I don't know. I think everyone in this field has as good a shot, not as good, but everyone in this field has a shot at winning, and everyone has a good shot at crashing out. I mean, Joey Logano looked great at Daytona, gets caught up in that late crash when McDowell flips. So it's like, the front of the field's not safe. The middle of the pack's not even safe. Denny Hamlin proved at Atlanta. The back of the pack's not safe. Like, nothing's 100% a sure thing.
But I'll say, if there's anyone that I'm looking at where I'm like, man, this dude's just maybe not in it 100%, has not been the greatest at these. And like, Denny Hamlin for me is like, his head is not in the game right now. I mean, he flat out said that like his head is not fully in racing right now. He has this other stuff he's looking at. And I remember Dale Jr. saying it, Jeff Gordon saying it, Denny has said it, Logano has said it. Super speedway racing, especially at Daytona, Talladega, is the biggest mental game you have. You have to be mentally tough. You have to be mentally, your head completely in the game. I think with Denny's head's in the game, he's one of the best 2 or 3 out there, and probably one of the best 5 to 7 super speedway drivers, I would say, drafting at least, of all time. I think he's up there, but he's out of it right now.
It's a very different style of super speedway racing. To your point, listening to his podcast this week and things he said in the past, I do feel Denny enters this weekend not feeling super confident. Like, he's not admitted or accepted defeat. It feels he's very hyper aware of the fact that this ain't the super speedway racing I grew up doing. And to your point, I think in the back of his mind that lingers throughout the race. He might second guess certain moves, certain decisions, and things happen so quickly here. You can't really second guess yourself. And so I think, to your point, behind Larson, just because of his track record or lack thereof, Denny Hamlin is, I think, equally concerning. His average finish at drafting tracks this year, I think, is like 28th, which
it's awful.
Yeah, he usually runs better than that, but yeah, for whatever reason, it seems to be going wrong often.
Now, kind of looking through the end of the weekend here, at least with Sunday, going to the rating side of things. Cup had 1.794 million viewers, up 2% from Kansas last year, down I think 10% from the same weekend, but I think it was like Texas last year, which is generally more viewed. I think a lot of that also has to do with the storms going on, and all the damage, and that was a big NASCAR area that got hit. That's the least important thing about that right now. Xfinity got 772,000 live viewers. I'll talk about that briefly for a moment. A lot of people I talked to that live in Michigan were pretty pissed because just a random, like, 3rd tier, 4th tier college football game was put on CW over the race, and people blew up my replies a lot with that. Like, I can't see the race. Lucky you. And I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm just having fun here. Just killing the hornet that was in Eric's hair.
Yeah, that was sketchy.
But overall, a decent weekend, more or less, when it came to viewership. As for our poll, iceberg poll,
the famous iceberg poll,
whatever we want to call it. Yeah,
you're just gonna call it the iceberg poll. I get it. You're humble, modest, but it's the famous iceberg poll. We know that. We
had 100% total pie. I don't know why I said 100. We had 11,000 votes. Totally not doing word salad right now. 11,000 votes. 18% of you thought it was a great race. 63% said it was good. 81% net positivity. 16% said it was an average race. 2% apiece for below average and bad. So 4% net negative. Eric, it was Napa Racing Fan who got the first comment. Was it positive, negative, meme, or a mix?
Probably a meme. Don't let me down, Napa Racing Fan. I see you in the chat.
All right. I'm like letting the chat catch up to us while we do this. He says, not as great as a spring race, but still very good.
That's it? That was the top comment?
That was the top comment. That was the first comment.
Oh, that was the okay.
First comment. As for the rest of the comments here, we got Spencer, who would put racing gods be trolling Kyle Busch and his fans at this point. Meanwhile, the Melon Man, rest in peace, Watermelon. Yes, but we do love. We all love big melons.
He ate a piece of it off the track.
Yeah, he does that after every.
I've seen him do it before, but people are acting like he did it like it was really. I saw some comments that said that was disgusting, and I was like, "What did he do? Did he like rub some gravel in it first and then take a bite?" Like I didn't know if he did something crazier this time.
He's a Florida man; he gets a pass.
That's a normal Florida man diet right there.
Like, yeah, as long as he's not biting somebody's face off, I really don't care what he has to do as a Florida man. Akshay Talk says the least cheered Kyle Busch crash probably ever. Yeah.
It was. I was stunned. I like you. I was standing on pit road and I just couldn't believe it.
I literally couldn't stop. I had my notebook over my head and I literally just kept doing this. I'm like, no, because I was genuinely kind of excited, being like, man, it could, probably, hopefully isn't. Probably isn't. I'm thinking it isn't, but if this is Kyle Busch's last win, that would be really badass to say. I've said before, I was like Greg Biffle's last win. I was like Gordon's. If I had Kyle Busch that mantle, that'd be something I'd brag about for a long time. NN010 says it was good, not as hyped as a spring race, but that was going to be damn near impossible to top. I've seen you in the chat. I don't see it at the moment, but Irvin Alvarado said corn. So there's lots of corn in Kansas.
Okay.
Trust me, I saw that quickly after I had to change my flat tire because that happened on Friday.
Yeah, you were parked basically in a cornfield fixing your flat tire. That's sketchy.
Did I tell you what I actually ended up finding on me? And luckily, I didn't get bit.
A tick?
A Lone Star tick, which people have been bit by that.
That was bad?
It makes them allergic to red meat. And I'm like,
oh, I've heard about that. It gives you Lyme disease, right?
I think like deer ticks do that, but it was the Lone Star one can put you in anaphylactic shock if you even smell the smell of cooking red meat, like steak. And I'm like, if I'm gonna die by a steak, it's because I ate too damn big of a steak, not because I smelled it.
you call it a Lone Star tick, and I just picture a bug wearing a Buc-ee's t-shirt and drinking Whataburger,
eating a beaver nuggets. I don't think I'm gonna make someone a vegan.
I want to get bit by a Lone Star tick. That sounds fun.
He's like, you're going to be an involuntary vegan today, buddy. Random Tire, ironic, says, pretty nice race, even though there were 10 cautions.
There were a lot of cautions.
Then they were single car. A lot of them were single car spins. It wasn't just air. It was just, they lost it. It was slick track. We talked to Grant from Auto Racing Analytics because he was there and he was hanging out with us at the Xfinity.
I think all three of his cars I think they all spun out or crashed.
Yes, they did.
Unfortunately.
But he was saying it was the word of the weekend is loose. The entire garage just keeps saying how loose everything is. It wasn't wrong. Lorenzo, to add a little salt into that wound, says, is Jimmy the new Danica Patrick?
What? Oh, trying to come from IndyCar to stock cars? What are we
crashing every week in a green car?
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
This one wasn't his fault, other than he qualified bad, which was his fault. But yeah, that just sucked. I felt almost as bad. I felt probably worse for Jimmy actually than I did for Kyle Busch spinning out, because like this isn't the first. Like Jimmy runs part time, and I swear this is like the fourth time he's been crashed on lap like 1.
yeah,
Like, that's wild.
I feel, man. I feel for them. This one probably could have been in the gutter if it was in the bottom 3, but I had to put it just for the username. So it starts with a CH, but the name is Crotch Rocket Man, saying,
Whoa.
"Where is the terrible option? It was god awful."
Wow. Crotch Rocket Man is crotchety man. Hey.
To the gutter comments here. Jacob says, if you thought this was a good race, you don't know about racing. Really. No passing. The car needs something. Stop blaming Goodyear. Well, I agree with the end of it.
Was he commenting on the Bristol poll? Did he think he was?
I don't know. I was there. I thought it was good.
Okay.
I was watching. There was usually there were cars passing or side by side somewhere in the pack the whole time. If you didn't see it, the broadcast probably didn't show it. Like, that's the best way I can put it. Aiden's Mid says, I was laughing hard when Busch spun from the lead.
And they got downvoted, huh?
Very
Yeah.
much.
Kyle Busch fans are out in full force. Respect.
And then Clone66 says, stopped watching this season after the 2-week hiatus for the Olympics, then missed both Saturday races. There's only one. I stopped caring for this season. It's NBC's fault, not mine.
Wait, that's the comment?
That was the lowest voted comment.
What a weird comment.
And now I do
What
my
is-
best Craig Ferguson and just throw
Chuck
the note
it.
over there.
I'm trying to wrap my head around why.
I don't understand it either. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Wow.
What else I don't get is the fact that moving to the Xfinity race, none of us picked Eric Almirola to win. He's racing every race the rest of the year in the 20, by the way, so I should let everybody know that in advance.
That's a good point.
None of us picked him.
He must be a Lee Diffie hater. Sorry, I'm still stuck on that last comment you read. That's the only thing I could think of. Anyway, Eric Almirola, yeah, great battle at the end with Cole Custer and Chandler Smith. But Eric Almirola, was that his second win of the season?
I think maybe third.
I think he's made like 9 or 10 starts. I think this is his second win.
When there's so much going on, it is really hard to remember every individual win and stat. I'm just saying that.
No, but it's a good. I mean, yeah, him saying afterwards, yeah, I'm running every other race this year, and he joked, he's like, that wasn't originally the plan, but the car is in the owners' playoffs, and Almirola compared to, they can't bring active Cup Series drivers in. It's playoffs, so you aren't going to see Ty Gibbs or Christopher Bell in that car the rest of this year. Eric Almirola probably does, of the rest of their fleet, probably gives them the best shot at winning the owners' championship. So, yeah, I don't blame him. Great race, ran well. It was awesome to see him chase down Custer and Smith. They got on each other's nerves a little bit afterwards. It was great. Another just really good race.
Wasn't everyone on each other's nerves after that race?
There was Chandler and Custer was mad at Chandler. Okay, the frustration, fine. Oh gosh, who else was mad at each other?
Wasn't it Hill and someone?
Oh, now I'm just blanking.
Hill was mad at somebody.
Remind us, chat. There were 6. There was 3 sets of 2.
Yeah.
Oh no, Herbst was mad at Hill because Hill spun him at the end of stage 2. I think that one I remember. Yeah, and Hill didn't even
Smith
fight. He was
and
like,
Allmendinger is what they're saying. Sammy Smith and AJ Allmendinger.
Oh, that's right. Because in stage like 4 laps into the race, Allmendinger was up his ass for no reason. Yeah. I don't understand that. They're both in the playoffs. Like that's worth retaliation, in my opinion. There's too much on the line to be racing someone like that on lap 4. Like you're basically trying to spin them out on lap 4. And yeah, so Sammy Smith, next opportunity he gets, he should absolutely punt Allmendinger. I think that would be fair. Yeah, there were 6 drivers mad in some way, shape, or form.
Well, but two that weren't involved on different ends of the pendulum were Connor Zilich and Justin Allgaier, the JRM guys. And Eric, yeah. I believe you called this. Connor Zilich.
I had a prediction right.
Top 5 finish. And it wasn't like he just, it was just because of strategy. Like, he held his position and competed up there. Like, he looked like he belonged in the top 5.
Yeah, no, I don't remember where he qualified, but he raced his way up into the top 10 and then held his position in the top five pretty much from like lap 80 to the end. I think it was a 200 lap race or something close to it. He was right there in the mix the entire race. Didn't have the pace to go chase down the 3 leaders who battled it out for the win, but was very good considering this is his first ever Xfinity Series start on an oval. Just his second start, period. He has an average finish now of 2.5 across two career Xfinity starts. So, I mean, very impressive. And listening to him on pit road after the race, you could tell he had a blast. He talked about, I asked him about what surprised him the most driving an Xfinity car on a high-speed oval. And he said that there's little room for error because with the ARCA cars, the way they still have skew built into the back, you can hang that thing out the whole time. Whereas the Xfinity Series car, it's a little dicier, it's sketchier. You really have to be careful. And at a place like Kansas, you're up close to the wall for periods of the run. I think it was something he'd never experienced before, but he adapted really quickly and obviously ran well. I mean, this kid is obviously the real deal. We don't need to be the ones to say it. It's clear as day if you've been watching the past year. He's legit. There's a lot of potential there.
I am really excited for next year's Xfinity Series because like you got real deal guys like him. At JRM too. I mean, you look and Carson Kvapil is going to be full-time in the one car next year for that team. And yeah, I'm looking at the way the Xfinity Series overall is setting up. And so you have these really good drivers. But I like, too, is you have a ton of inexperienced drivers. So you're going to see people getting over their heads. You're going to see people get mad at each other. And you're going to see at the end of the year, and I'm looking forward to it this year, it is I honestly think it might be in my top 3 or 4 now favorite races of the year. That Xfinity race at Martinsville to cut off, something always happens. It is the best of the best for NASCAR as it is now. I'm
3 sets of playoff drivers mad at each other. Some of them probably will be eliminated by then, but still, it's going to be. I'm with you. That's going to be a very exciting race once again.
I won't necessarily say I'm rooting for Austin Hill to do well, but I'm not like wanting to root for anyone in particular. But if Austin Hill is in the mix at Martinsville, I tell you now, I will bolt myself to this seat to watch that race because there's no way that I'm missing that at all.
Is he gonna be the bull in the china shop, or is he gonna be the glass getting shattered? Are people gonna take swings at him? Who's taking a swing at Austin Hill? Let's be honest.
Cole Custer has at least a comparable size.
It's comparable size. I guess that's true. SVG has height, but I don't know if SVG will be in the mix to win that race.
I would argue most have the agility advantage over him, at least based on
AJ Allmendinger out there like a little.
He's like
float like a butterfly.
Yeah. But on the other end of that, going back to the JRM side of it, it's just a really bad day for Justin Allgaier. Probably
he
the
got
worst
jacked
day
up on that one restart, right?
Yep.
We were sitting together up at the top, and it was in the distance, and I knew he was your pick, so I felt really bad that he got. I felt a little bad.
Oh,
not that bad.
You looked over at me, and I'm like, no, damn it! That was every time I pick him.
Yeah. Allgaier, I believe now is outside of the playoffs currently, or he's in the playoffs, but he's outside of the top 8, which, I mean, they're kind of following the Cup schedule at this point. He should be good at Talladega. He should be good at Charlotte, but like no guarantees. So yeah, Allgaier, I mean, he was my championship pick a week ago. I said a week ago, he's going to go all the way this year. Not off to a great start, unfortunately.
Well, and you're looking at it here, Custer plus 41, Chandler Smith 36, 26 for Hill, 13 for Mayer, 8 apiece for Creed and SVG, which SVG, great top 10 run in this race. Luck on his side, definitely.
Caught a break with the caution for sure, but he started the race like usual, 23rd, drove up to maybe 18th, and then got some strategy, got some track position, held on to 8th or 9th, wherever he finished. Like that's what he's done at every new track this year.
Yeah, Love plus 3. Then Herbst plus 1, Allgaier minus 1, AJ minus 13, Kligerman minus 15, and Sammy Smith minus 23 in the hole. The one I'm looking at right now, that even if he doesn't win, I think he'll have a really good run, is plus 3 Jesse Love. Like the way that super speedways and RCR mesh together Xfinity-wise, like that's going to be the interesting one to watch and see where he meshes into that playoff grid after. Same with if SVG is within 15 to 20 points of the cut line heading in the Roval, probably closer to 15, I think he's a lock. I think at that point he is. Like,
Like,
even if he doesn't win.
Like you're saying, even if he's minus 15?
Yeah, because he's going to run top 3 or 4 in the stages. You know that the way he is at these road courses, he can make his way up through the pack. He doesn't even need to win. He just needs to run top 5 in the stages and then run top 5 at the end of the race. And
I get that he's great, but like if he wins stage 1 and then because everyone short pits and he's 26th on the restart, I don't know that he's going 26th to first in a short stage.
No, but you also have to think is that what you're doing too is you have those others that might be having a short pit or different strategies that he's going to move ahead. You know he's going to get a ton of people early in those.
He's going to make up points in the stages if he's there. Yeah, I mean, I think if he's on the cut line, he's a lock. If he's a few points below, I'd say, "Ooh, watch out." I wouldn't feel comfortable. But if he's 15 to 20 back, at that point, I think you're just protecting against a win. You're just hoping he doesn't win, which, I mean, that's a tall ask. He wins a lot of these road course races. So
that's what I'm saying, man. Like,
I mean, I had him through to the round of 8 for that reason. Roval alone, I think, makes this round very appealing to SVG. So I'm not going to sit here and say anything against him. Like, I think he's going to do well enough at these next 2 races to advance. I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
Now, I think somebody that's shocking us, we'll talk about the winner in a moment, but moving to the truck race, Lane Riggs. Where the hell did this come from?
Where did he finish? Top 5, right?
Second.
Where is he? He was second. Yeah, wild. So first, second the last 3 weeks. He's not in the playoffs, but boy, he's making quite the statement for next year when he probably is in the playoffs the way they're running. Yeah, unreal how they suddenly turned it on overnight, it seemed. And now it's not even just short tracks. Like if you looked at his results, it was like, oh, a couple of top 5s, a couple of wins. That's impressive, but it's all short tracks, shorter ovals. That's sort of his background, bread and butter. This was a mid-intermediate, a mile and a half. I don't think he's raced hardly anything like this until this year, and now he's running top 5 here. Like, I don't, very impressive.
He's running where that team should, at least where they were.
6 or 8 weeks ago, whenever the Olympic break was, I did a video and had him as one of my biggest disappointments of the season. And I think I was 100% right. That's a truck that usually contends for the championship. He wasn't even in playoff contention at that point. Since then, I know they're out of the playoffs, so it's still a disappointing year, I would argue. They've been unbelievable. So, I mean, credit to them for just flipping that switch. No matter the point situation, they've been really impressive.
Now, of course, you can't win when it's Heim time. And
Heim time all the time.
He won at the end. A bit of fuel mileage race. I thought, at least from the stands, pretty fun finish overall.
Ben Rhodes, was it like as he took the white, effectively ran out of gas? It was like just over 1 to go.
And it was desperation at that point because we'll talk about that too.
That he got so close, though. I mean, it was the only chance he had. Yeah. They just haven't had it all year. And they did. His crew chief took a risk. Is his crew chief still Rich Lushes? Or how do you say his last name? Lucius?
I think I'd have to double check. Yeah. But he and Danny Dye, Michael Waltrip look away. They got eliminated from the playoffs, and now we're reset into this final round that takes place over like 5 weeks. Himes plus 38, Eckes plus 29. I think those are the ones we're like, yeah, we kind of figured. Majeski now only plus 14, Sanchez plus 8. I think for the most part, this is the favorite look when it comes to a lot of people's final 4 picks. At least I would say these are definitely the 4 best remaining. Raja minus 8, Enfinger and Ankrum minus 11 apiece, and then Taylor Gray minus 15. He's our Mr. Irrelevant. So of any of those guys, which one do you see being the one that kind of spoils the party? For me, with Martinsville in this round, I think Grant Enfinger is the one who could like get a win and spoil it for those 4.
Oh, you read my mind. I think Grant Enfinger, veteran driver, very experienced, could do it. Raja in this round, I think he needs to have a big day at Talladega, but Spire trucks are good. Taylor Gray, I don't think I fully trust. Tyler Ankrum, I think the truck is good. I don't trust him. I think it's going to be Enfinger or Raja, and I think the odds are it'll be Sanchez or Majeski who gets bumped out. But yeah, someone said in his Oldsmobile. Yeah, if you saw the typo, if you will, on the entry, that's good. Grant Enfinger in a Oldsmobile truck gets the win at Talladega this weekend. We'll see. Yeah, but I agree. I think Enfinger has the best shot of making some noise.
So my parents, I think my dad was the one that drove it. We had an Oldsmobile at one point. It was like a hand-me-down from my great-grandmother. Good car. Went down to Florida a ton from Illinois. So, but that'll pretty much wrap up the weekend, I don't know where do I kind of put this in the show, but I showed you before, so I have to show it on screen. I figure it ties in this weekend because my dad brought it to me. And there's a funny story with it too. So a lot of people know I lived about a mile from the Rockford Speedway. It closed. They've been tearing it up. My dad actually went to the track, at least what's left of it, and they had piles of the racetrack left. And so I have...
It's like a moon rock.
Yeah, I got 2 pieces of the Rockford Speedway. There's like dirt all over my desk. I'm going to have to get like a clean wipe or whatever.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. It's all over my phone now, too.
Uh-oh.
It's like... There we go.
This is like
it's like Indiana Jones. It's like Indiana Jones.
A loved one's ashes across your studio.
It's like Indiana Jones where he finds something. He's like, the dust flies everywhere. But I thought it'd be something really cool to show too. And maybe I won't say who just in case they say no. But maybe I'll like give it to some people that or whatever it might be. But the funny story to this is when my dad went to get that, he got it the night before he drove to Kansas. So it was Thursday night he got it. He didn't realize until we went back to the gate to go out, he accidentally got locked into the racetrack and had to find somebody to let him out. So thank you, Dad. I appreciate that. And I like there's the Indiana Jones reference. Last Crusade too. That's my favorite Indiana Jones from Chris here. It belongs in a museum. So do you. I think if I'm not mistaken, and we're getting me on my nerdy track here. If I'm not mistaken, is it River Phoenix? Joaquin Phoenix's brother played young Indiana Jones at the start of that movie. In
I didn't
Last
know
Crusade.
Joaquin Phoenix had a brother.
He passed away, but let's not talk about Dial of Destiny. Ugh, that brings the mood down.
Someone said Dial of Dysentery.
That sounds better. That's like a Critical Drinker reference, I think.
I liked it more than Crystal Skull.
Nothing Indiana Jones happened after 1989.
Oh,
that's how
fair.
I look at it.
I like the Lego Indiana Jones video game.
That happened. That's the exception.
That's canon.
Yeah, that's the exception. All right.
Of course, naturally.
But that'll do it for the long weekend with many stories showing the track and locked in tracks and all of that stuff. Hell, I even saw Locust over the weekend. We had it all at Kansas.
Sounds like it.
Imagine telling a fan back in the cookie cutter boom, yeah, you're going to look forward to, and not only look forward to, you are going to appreciate racing at Kansas Speedway.
I know. Shocker. But it's become one of the best tracks on the circuit. It's one I look forward to now every year. I'm glad that I moved up to North Texas because this is like now the second closest track to me, I think. Third, I guess, Coda. So it's nice. I feel like I almost have another home track. A good one, finally.
That's right.
Can I adopt Kansas as my home track?
Go for it. Me and my dad have at this point. Like we've been to this
I might
track.
just have to do that.
I was thinking like, well, there's states like near Texas, and then I remembered like how damn big Texas is because I was like, I think I told you like when I come down in January, maybe I'll go and visit my cousin who lives in El Paso, and then I realized El Paso is like 10 hours away, and I'm like, never mind. I'll listen to the song El Paso by Marty Robbins and
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the middle ground here. Our first super chat stage break. Eric, just let me know when I'm around.
Oh yeah,
3
I'll
minutes.
time you. Keep us on schedule.
I will not see when you put that. Someone says I'm washed. You're probably right. Ben Lewis with the 5 here says, did you see Jet's take on the lawsuit? Reading the statements made me shocked that NASCAR keeps doing things from the 60s when we're in the 2020s. We'll get to that in a bit. I have not seen Jet's video yet. I've been pretty busy today, but
did you read the whole lawsuit, Jared? I thought you read most of it.
I read through it. I will admit I
skimmed some of it.
I am not a legal scholar by any means.
Same.
There was some stuff. There was a little stuff in there where, like, as a NASCAR fan, you'd know. But it's like if you're just like a noob, I don't think you know as much. Like if you're just some rando that they put on the jury, you're not going to know the difference of what they're talking about.
What's a bump draft?
I don't know. Man, they screwed over ARCA. That was like on the up and up, according to 2311. I'm gonna have somebody hating on me for that, and I literally meant nothing by it. Ben also said for 2 here, Rangers fan. I'm happy the Astros lost. Sorry, Eric.
Who is this?
That is Ben Lewis.
Well, Ben, enjoy your. I was gonna say Mickey win. It's not a Mickey win. What was the Enjoy your World Series ring. You guys earned it. This is the first year in like 5 years the ALCS, or no, I'm sorry, this will be the first time in 4 years the World Series won't be in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Tough scene.
Irvin at the 10 here says, here's something we can't forget. Ticketmaster and NASCAR. Dear God, what an awful fee-driven music venue controlling, artist screwing platform. Real heroes use SeatGeek and use code word tree for 20% off. Yeah. Oh yeah. I've used that before. That was the reason I was able to go to quite a few different Viking games at different points. I have multiple accounts with multiple emails, so I use the same promo code over and over again. Allegedly. Shorty PJM for the 523 says, hope I can make it for picks. My birthday celebrations tonight. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm in my Bubba year, so I'm assuming 23.
45.
45. Bubba ran to 60 one year in the Xfinity. Speaking of, his son Bex is my favorite NASCAR kid now. Yes, congratulations to the Wallaces.
Yeah.
Snappy 452 for the 10 says, this is a case about the unlawful monopolization of a premier stock car racing podcasting by the NWP family in order to enrich themselves at the expense of the premier stock car racing podcasting fans.
They knew it. They figured us out. Oh gosh, we've been summoned, Jarrett.
I'll make the joke again. We're all here for the money. I guarantee there's going to be somebody being like, these shills.
Where's NASCAR shill in the chat when we need them?
Oh, he has been doing the Lord's work on Twitter.
I saw someone at the track. I think Danny said, who said they met him? Somebody met him. Was it you, Jarrett? Somebody.
No, it wasn't me.
I saw from a distance. He was wearing the shirt, so I'm going to assume it's him. I saw the Instagram account. You know the guy. Yeah. He was just a guy. Yeah,
yeah.
I saw a guy in a t-shirt. It reminded me of like the Dream face reveal where it's like, oh, he's just a guy.
I'm so glad he came to the race. There's NASCAR still. This lawsuit is an outrage.
There he is.
Fake news. I don't have an Instagram account. I think MVR owner's on the right track.
Yeah.
Oh man. Logan with his first one saying, do y'all think it's possible that Busch goes winless this year? I'd hate to see that, especially since he would set the record for most consecutive seasons with a win.
I thought, did he set the record last year or did he tie Petty?
I think he tied because I think this year would be 20 in a row.
I thought he broke the record, but we'd have to check. Either way, I would check. 20 in a row would be a nice round, probably unbeatable number. I don't want to say unbeatable. There's some young guys that could race for 30 years coming up, but you know, it would be tough.
Broke it last year. Broke it, set it, tied. Now Peter says he tied. I'm going with Peter.
Someone said the old record was 18. Yeah, so I think I do think he has the record.
I'm going Peter. Peter knows what he's talking about. Either way, he would be in lone possession no matter what.
Dying at NASCAR shill in the chat. I'm sorry. We are well over 3 minutes. I apologize.
I'll get the last. I'll get the 3 on screen here. Bobby Blair for the 5 says, Texas Wi-Fi at its finest. I feel your pain, Eric. He's the one that has the Texans logo as his logo.
Yeah, but it's figured it out now. Rough start to the show. We're fine. We're good.
Gavin for the 26-month member chat saying Larson's kryptonite has entered the 2024 season. And then Rowdy 8 diecast for the 2 says, being a Kyle Busch fan in big 2024 is pain.
Yeah.
And last one here. I can't tell. I can't tell from here. Is that the drum of the skull chant? That's my dad who's left the 5 saying, looking forward to year 7 at Kansas with you and hopefully Eric, your turn for Uni Sushi. That's right. Yeah, it's my turn to buy sushi next year.
Oh yeah. There you go. It was nice seeing your dad at the track. Y'all, that was fun.
Yeah. So we've been there. We've been going there now 6 straight years since 2019. And yeah, next year will be year 7, which will, I think, set the record now if most races him and I have been at the track at the same time together, because the other record was 6 with Michigan. Yeah,
cool.
I can't wait. My wallet can wait though. For the sushi restaurant, we cleaned that place out. But thank you guys. We will get the second Super Chat stage break in the second half of the show. Now, It's going to be really odd this week because I don't know if anyone will be struck down. But it is time for the lightning round. And Eric has been struck. Oh, my God. It got you right on the head. Damn.
Oh, that one. I felt that one. Oh.
Damn. You ever seen the movie The Great Outdoors with John Candy?
No, who, what?
All right, we got some work to do over the offseason.
What did we get struck by lightning? Okay.
6 times? 67 times. My dad will like that one. I probably got the number wrong. First one, of course, the NWP channel, where episodes and replays. We have the link in the description with the little @ that you can click on to subscribe to that. We'll see if we get like 500 on that by the off season. We might have some fun little things to do on that one.
Everyone's freaking out in the chat. Who the hell is John Candy? I've never heard of this person.
Dude.
Who is this? Name me one movie or role they've been in besides
Buck.
The Great Out. I've never heard of Uncle Buck. What's Uncle Buck? Is that a Christmas movie?
Spaceballs?
I've heard of Spaceballs.
He's Bartholomew.
I haven't seen Spaceballs. I just said I've heard of it.
Oh my God, Eric. Eric, you're killing me,
Dude,
Smalls. You're killing
right.
me.
It's rare that the entire chat lights up that I haven't heard. Like, this is the first time I've never heard of somebody that everyone has apparently heard of.
Oh my God.
He's in Home Alone? Who does he play in Home Alone?
I'm not getting.
I've seen Home Alone.
Oh my God.
Yeah, thank you. One other person in the chat's like, yeah, I've never heard of this guy either. Yeah, thank God I'm not alone. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now. What the heck? What is going on?
Oh my God. Oh, we're gonna move on from this.
I've never even heard of The Great Outdoors. Eric, you need to watch more movies. I went to film school. What the fuck?
It obviously didn't teach you enough.
I guess I'll go rip up my diploma. I probably don't deserve it. He's the band member that helps the mom return. Oh, that guy. That's John Candy. Okay,
Danny is more gracious than I.
Thank you, Danny, for being in the chat. All right, I can at least picture him now. Okay.
I'm with MVR owner Jared. Just end the podcast.
He's the accordion player. I don't remember if he has an accordion, but yeah, okay, I can picture him now. Yeah, he's the polka guy.
Next, you're gonna tell me you don't know who Chris Farley is.
I know who Chris Farley is.
Better, or I'll send you to live in a van down by the river. Yeah,
no, I know John. Now I can picture John Candy. I know. At least I've seen some of his roles.
I want to give a shout out on the YouTube side here to, I don't know if it's Voti or Voti. VOTI is the channel name. It's a channel uploading all of these crystal clear HD uploads from 2006 to 2008 or 9. He's uploading practice sessions, qualifying sessions, full races, and doing the Lord's work. I hope NASCAR Classics gets a hold of him and talks to him about uploading some of those races onto that database, because it is some of the clearest, I think, of those races I have seen since it was aired. Like, I was like, I knew it wasn't 244p the whole time. So shout out to him. That awesome stuff. And I hope everyone gives support to him. NASCAR, of course, is switching over to Ticketmaster. So I was actually feed for I had fees put on that statement just now. I had to pay an extra 40%. Daniel Hemrick not returned to Call League in 2025. The 31 will be the 10 car driven by Ty Dillon, which I think we all knew. Heim is also, according to Bob Pockers, expected to be back full-time in trucks next year, and also some select Xfinity races. If Lane Riggs doesn't continue this, next year Heim is just going to run over the truck series.
But no, I mean, Majeski will be there, and maybe Enfinger is still there, and yeah.
In Lane Riggs we trust, because he's the one who could ascend high enough to challenge, especially with Eckes going full-time to Xfinity. NASCAR Full Speed Season 2 will debut in early 2025. I think we all knew that after how good the numbers looked this first year of how many people watched. Caden Honeycutt will be full-time in the 45 truck next year.
I'm excited about that.
Because he ran really well in this past weekend, and I've been a little bullish on him lately. I hope he proves me right. God, I have these chunks of Rockford Speedway, and I don't know how much
I want. Bugs crawling out of them?
No, but I don't know if you can tell. Look how abrasive this surface is.
Like Larry Mack with the cheese grater.
This is a cheese grater. I'm sorry, I just kept noticing it. I'm like, I had to point it out. And it's like, what do you talk about every week with NASCAR? Asphalt. Let's see. A couple other things here. Xfinity Series has been confirmed to be in the new NASCAR console game made by iRacing, so they will have at least the Xfinity Series.
Wow.
They've been teasing stuff. I'm not. Maybe this is my ignition PTSD. I'm not buying in until I see gameplay.
Sure.
I won't.
I think. Yeah, that's fair.
I won't diss them. I think they should be given the benefit of the doubt on a few games, one or two. Probably two, because the first one, you got to have that base. But I'm not going to be like how some of them are and be like, this is the greatest NASCAR game since 04 Thunder. I'm like, funny, Ignition said that too. I want to see some stuff. From it first. They're also speaking a lot of Xfinity stuff here, man. A lot of Xfinity stuff. There's going to be an Xfinity tire test on November 13th at The Rock. Bozy tweeted that one out. I am excited.
Open to the public? No, probably not.
But hey,
Maybe.
They'd probably make a pretty penny on ad revenue if they just put that up on YouTube as a live stream, the way they did Daytona a couple years back with the Cup Next Gen. And then next week, we will be on Danny B's channel. He will be back. He will return. October 9th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Should be a lot of fun. We're covering Talladega, but knowing how this season's going, we probably will have some kind of story that's absolutely insane to cover. That'll be bigger than Dega. And then the week after, October 16th, on your channel, Eric, LA Productions comes back on the show. So that should be a lot of fun, too.
Hype. Yeah.
Let's
That'll be
go.
a great time.
But that'll do it for the lightning round. Duck, Eric, duck.
Oh, what, quack?
Nope,
Where?
he got stuck. Yeah, he got hit again 67 times. Oh, man.
I'll do my John Candy research later.
Good man. All right. Let's move forward. I want to say this before we jump on in to the headlines of this week. The big headline: we are not legal experts. Anything we say on here that might be talking about this is not legal.
And will be used against us.
It is not legal advice. And if you look to YouTubers talking about NASCAR only and that have no legal expertise for your legal advice, you're a moron. Moving forward, let's talk about a lawsuit with absolutely no professional training in this whatsoever. Let's talk about NASCAR v. the teams. It's funny, when I did my Instagram promo for the show tonight, I had the Law and Order theme playing in the background because it just seemed to fit. I found out it was copyrighted, or I was going to have it play in the background while we talked about this.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Funny enough, my dad was telling me, I think it was like one of the characters in Beauty and the Beast was played by the dude that looks like a goblin from Law and Order, that older dude. Like, I didn't know that.
That's fun fact. I didn't know that either. Okay. Yeah. How do we want to dive into this? We just want to let's just cover the basic info first. Get everyone up to speed. So I think it was officially this morning, 2311 Racing and Front Row filed an antitrust lawsuit against NASCAR. They're being represented by Jeffrey Kessler, who, if you recall, early in the year was hired on by the Race Team Alliance to consult with them during their charter negotiations. He's the same guy who's was partially responsible for the NBA implementing a salary cap. More notably, I would say NIL becoming a thing now in college athletics. He's a real deal. He is a very well-known, well-respected, accomplished sports antitrust lawyer. So he is involved. The teams have said really all along, I know Denny Hamlin has been public about this, that there are four main pillars, four things they want from NASCAR. Number one, they want the charters to be made permanent. Number two, they want a larger cut of the revenue. Three, there's been some, I think, back and forth over who now owns the team's IP, their likeness. Teams maybe want a cut of deals that involve, their drivers, their logos, their branding, kind of confusing. And then four, the teams want a bigger seat at the table, especially when it comes to making larger rule changes that could cost them money. Those are the four things they want. And NASCAR effectively has offered none of them. They maybe offered the second one a little bit. The teams under the latest proposal would get more money. I'm not sure it's a much larger slice of the pie. The pie has just gotten bigger because of the larger agreement they signed. But that's what 2311 Front Row, that's what they're fighting for. But I think beyond that, I look at what is their goal by potentially taking NASCAR to court? Is their goal truly to win this lawsuit outright and fundamentally reshape the entire stock car racing business? Or is their goal to scare NASCAR into having to open up their books, show all their financial records, who's getting money, where's their money been going, scare NASCAR to the point that NASCAR sits back down at the negotiating table and says, okay, we'll give you these three things. We'll give all the teams these three things. Like, I wonder what the end game ultimately ends up being. It sounds like it could go a number of different ways. Michael Jordan has deep pockets. He could take this to the Supreme Court or whatever, but that's where we're at effectively. That's where things are at as of this morning.
Well, and a lot of, because, like I said, I read through it. You read through it. We admittedly, as
half of it went over my head, but
but part of it too is like, as NASCAR fans, like one of the big things they talked about was like the non-competitive part. With like, you can't race in other series. One of the provisions NASCAR put in, instead of like racing in other like series like it, is like you can't race in other automobile series.
Yeah, it's it's more broad potentially, which is like, whoa.
Which that would hit Trackhouse hard immediately with all the expansion they've done.
What does this mean for Larson's Indy 500 run? Unless we're just missing. Obviously, NASCAR's not going to shoot that down.
This is the teams, not the drivers, the teams.
But Hendrick's on the entry list for the Indy 500. That's a Hendrick car.
Yeah, I guess you could take the name off because technically it's.
I guess it is a McLaren entry. McLaren. Yeah, okay, maybe you could get away with it. That's true.
But I mean, you look at that and it's like, what way would you want to shoot yourself in the foot of getting good teams to come in? Like, they were in it a long time, dropped out, sold the Trackhouse. Like Chip Ganassi would not be able to, unless he's grandfathered in, had his team been around today, would not be able to be in NASCAR. Andretti coming over, whichever way.
I don't know the wording, because like someone in the chat points out, Penske is in IndyCar and NASCAR. Yeah. Obviously, they're not kicking Penske out.
They're probably going to grandfather them in.
Yeah,
but it's just
that's, I guess, your point.
Then you're screwing the new teams that choose to invest a ton of money into you.
Yeah, it's tough. But the point you made earlier more about how NASCAR allegedly has engaged in very non-competitive practices. The teams in this lawsuit pointed out a few different things. For one, they point out that NASCAR in recent years has bought up many of the big tracks under ISC and has brought them private. They bring up that NASCAR bought ARCA in 2018. Brought them private. ARCA, you could argue, I know it's not at the scale of NASCAR, but it's the closest stock car racing series to NASCAR that existed before NASCAR swallowed them up. Tracks, ARCA, NASCAR, the teams argued that NASCAR also owns the next gen car. They chose the single source suppliers that the teams must go to get these parts. And there's some of it's a little confusing. There appears to be some wording that maybe suggests NASCAR still like owns, not necessarily the cars themselves, but still owns like the intellectual property of the next gen car. Yeah. Like the teams didn't design and build these cars. NASCAR designed these cars. The teams put them together, but that's NASCAR's design. So these cars aren't even owned by the teams explicitly.
Another point from Bob here is that one of the new 2025 charter provisions is the teams release, God damn it, legalese is not my first language. But basically, the teams would have to release any antitrust claims whatsoever, as part of the new charter agreement.
You sign the new deal, you can't sue NASCAR, which to me tells me, they were aware that this could be a problem.
Now, to be fair too, and I'm not defending NASCAR, I will say this is definitely a biased side of it.
We're only getting one side. NASCAR hasn't said anything yet,
but
to that point, NASCAR has not defended themselves publicly yet. So it is a very one-sided look so far.
A lot of this, for one, really fits what not just Denny Hamlin has said, but a lot of the teams have said. And they use quotes from drivers, teams, everyone. I mean, all the way back to the 90s on up to show it's a decades-long problem. I just want to say that in advance because like there might be some stuff that is going to be skewed a certain way. This is common sense to say. But I've been talking to a few people who have, I don't know if they're like families, lawyers, whoever it is, more than a couple people who have said straight up, it's like, yeah, Michael Jordan's not going to enter a lawsuit he can't win, especially in NASCAR. But it's funny.
Or that he won't at least get what he wants. Again, I don't know if their ultimate goal is to win the lawsuit. Their goal is ultimately to get what they want, and they can get that without actually taking this all the way to court and going through
selfishly,
everything.
Though, I kind of want to selfishly, as long as it doesn't screw up too much, which is a very like knock on wood kind of ask. Selfishly, I want to see NASCAR open their books up a little bit. I want to see like what the truth is. Like,
everybody would be interested.
Where is it going? Are we flubbing the attendance numbers?
It would generate a lot of negative headlines, almost certainly, because that's
this whole thing.
Every journalist. It already is, but every journalist is going to pour through those and is going to look for negativity sells. They'll look for, like you're saying, they flubbed the numbers here. Can you believe Jim France is making this while the teams make it? Like the headlines, the negative headlines would write themselves almost immediately.
That part is stuff that like we, the diehards, would talk about. What I'm talking about is like NASCAR has made a very concerted effort to reach out to different fan bases with the Chicago stuff, with LA, Brazil, Mexico, Canada they're working on, Denver, whatever. They don't care about what Jim France makes. Like, it's a cool story they see on a YouTube video or like that Twitter video that went viral a few months ago. No. Yeah. What they see is when they turn on Good Morning America tomorrow and they see Michael Jordan sued NASCAR because Michael Jordan is still a cultural powerhouse. And I'm sorry, NASCAR, Michael Jordan is worth more than the France family. Like, let's put that in perspective here. He is the only one that they can't bleed out in a lawsuit like this. Like, if this is Rick Hendrick, just wait for the money to dry up. It will with Rick Hendrick compared to the France family. But with Michael Jordan, it's not going to. When you have somebody, like with Kessler, that worked, I mean, it was instrumental in the NBA salary cap, instrumental in the Deflategate controversy, the NIL stuff, NFL free agency was because of him. Like, this dude, this isn't his first walk around. No, he also is like, I've never seen something so egregious. He's a lawyer. He's going to say that. Like, sure. Just look at Gennaro in Jurassic Park. Like, they're going to say anything they have to win the case on this stuff. But the dude has experience in way bigger ponds than this. Like, I don't see how NASCAR in any way would want this to go to any court. This has to be settled. In that case, what changes at that point? Because we talked about those pillars, permanent charters, larger cuts of revenue, more control over their IP and likeness. That was one thing. NASCAR wanted to take control of all of the team's IPs, likeness, all of that. That was one of the provisions they publicly talked about.
It's very convoluted. Yeah, it certainly came off as NASCAR. Whoa. Like, again, we're viewing this very one-sided. We're only seeing, would it be the plaintiff in this case? We're only seeing the plaintiff's perspective, their gripes, their complaints. And from their side, when they're throwing all this out there, it makes NASCAR look completely unreasonable. We talk about them owning all the tracks, owning different series. They also own MRN, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. They own NASCAR Studios, which is going to start broadcasting a lot of the races and handling the production of those next year. Like, NASCAR is huge. NASCAR does, in my opinion, control an awful lot. I don't know if it rises to the degree that a jury or a judge or however it works would take this up as a serious antitrust case. Maybe NASCAR is hoping it doesn't come to that and they don't even have to settle. But obviously, should it come to that, then they really do not want to provide any sort of financial transparency. And that's where 2311 and Front Row have finally found some leverage. We've talked all year about what leverage do the teams have. Don't know if you saw this quote. I don't remember what article it was in, but Curtis Polk of 2311 admitted today, we never had any leverage. We haven't had leverage this whole time. And he's partially saying that, I think, again, to drive home the fact that NASCAR has too much power. But I think he's also right. I think the teams have had very little leverage in this whole process. And taking NASCAR to court with the pockets of Michael Jordan behind you was the only way you were going to potentially see any real movement. And we'll see if any movement does occur. I really don't know. A few other things we did learn in the by skimming through the lawsuit itself, 2311 has applied for a third charter, I believe from Stewart-Haas Racing, but that's still awaiting approval, still being finalized. I thought it was also interesting. They wrote in there that it costs $18 million a year to run a competitive chartered entry in the NASCAR Cup Series. So a single car, the 23 car, costs roughly $18 million a year just to get to the track each week and perform, which I found pretty interesting. Also, one final note that both Front Row and 2311 are, I forget what the wording, how they worded it. They're filing an injunction, right? Is that how it's phrased? To try and kind of punt this down the line so that they would still be allowed to race under the charter agreement in 2025, even as this lawsuit is potentially ongoing, which I think is really interesting. If that does get granted or if that works next year, how tense things could be between those two teams and NASCAR week to week, race to race. But yeah, so I wanted to at least get those additional details out there.
I'm trying to find it because a lot of people have been asking about it too. Larry McReynolds was on the other end of it. He's about the closest we've gotten to a NASCAR response.
Yeah, because he's on a NASCAR platform. I think it was on Sirius
XM. Which again,
and he came out. Yeah,
a lot of NASCAR media. So NASCAR media as a whole has gotten smaller, and now you basically like a good portion of NASCAR media is just like basically state-run media. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Is they own MRN, they own Sirius. They I
don't see somebody. I don't see SMI speaking out about this. I don't see PRN, going and doing long tangents. The only who I will give them credit. Right, I'll give them credit. I know a lot of people are like these guys. A lot of people are on the other end of it. But Dirty Mo, literally, they interviewed Kessler and went into the dirtiness, the griminess of this whole thing.
They gave him
deep.
They gave him a platform for 15 minutes to pound NASCAR effectively. Which, that's. Again, you want to talk about Michael Jordan throwing his weight around. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is probably the most influential person strictly on the NASCAR side. He's one of the few, I think, who could get away with that. When you have his name behind you, you can do a lot. Like the Teardown did a podcast. You mentioned the interview with Kessler, but the contrast between that and Larry Mack saying on Sirius XM that, we've done things a certain way all along. You have this new team that's only been here a few years trying to change everything. Hold on.
Well, and I get
Larry.
I get the mentality of like being pissed that like a new team came in and changed all this stuff and like why they have the entitlement kind of thing. Like I get where he's coming from. I don't agree with him.
You need to argue the issues themselves. You can't just argue that a new team is not allowed to push boundaries or have new ideas. That's not a strong argument. You can argue specifically, hey, they're asking for too much here. They're asking for too much here. Argue that. Don't argue that just because you're new, you don't have a voice.
Well, and real quick, I want to say people are like in there, Dirty Mo's independent from NASCAR. Yeah. But they're also connected to a partner of NASCAR now with a lot of the serious stuff. I mean, Dale Jr. Download, I believe, is on there now.
That's true. They are on some of their stuff is on Sirius. Damn, it is. It's all connected.
They work with Prime.
We're the only ones left. We're hanging by a thread. Shit, Dirty Mo's knocking down my door right now. Get out of here. It's
and over. I just passed the Arby's car again.
Oh no.
but that's, it's connected to Prime, Turner. Bleacher Report too is there's that tendrils in there with all of that, so it's like
tendrils.
I love that's just a good word to use in all this.
That's a great word
because it's just slimy and nasty and just gross with all of this stuff. But like, I going back to the Larry Mack thing, I get where he's coming from with it. I don't agree with it, but my point to kind of push back on him with it is we have literally for the last 15 years talked about, bitched and moaned constantly about how we need to change all this stuff. And listen, I probably won't agree with everything that they want to change. I don't think NASCAR should be run like the NFL or NBA. And a lot of people brought up the France family owns NASCAR. I see all that, private companies, blah, 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 all that stuff. We can talk all about that. But the big conversation we have had, especially since we started this show, the biggest conversation overarching has been we need to figure out how to get costs under control, how to make NASCAR more affordable for teams, how to make it so they can make a profit. And somebody then goes out against the grain, tries it, and we're complaining about it. We don't have to
Yeah.
agree with it. We can talk and nitpick a little bit, but we're complaining that somebody decided to do something different. Like, Larry Mack, come on. I know you're on state-run media, but come on, man. Like, I know you're better than this.
Someone did say in the chat that Dave Despain had Kessler on Sirius today.
Dave
I missed the
Despain?
comment.
Or Dave Moody?
What did he say? Maybe he meant Dave Moody. Where did I see it? Maybe I misread the comment. Sorry. Shit, where was it? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to get it right in case, did I miss it? All right, I'm sorry. Maybe I misread it, or maybe I'm totally missing it.
By the way, they hit the like goal. So once Danny comes back next week on his channel, we'll be able to do random driver of the week with no like goal. Maybe let's put the like goal at 0 next week and then be like, here, get above this.
I want to bring up one more point. I know it's maybe starting to ratchet this down a little bit because ultimately we don't really know what's going to happen next. I'm really interested to hear NASCAR's public response because through this, they've been the more, I think, cordial when speaking to the media. The teams have been the ones, especially 2311, who are saying sport's going to die. We need to do this. Jim France won't talk to us. That's how they've been trying to get their leverage. While NASCAR has been, everything's good. We're close. We're going to get a deal. We want what's best for everyone.
Everything's great.
So I'll be really curious to hear how they respond. Okay, Dave Moody had Kessler on today, Sirius XM.
That surprises me.
I would be interested to hear that. So I'll take back a little of what we said about Sirius XM only sticking up for NASCAR. But Larry Mack's comments still I felt were a little out of touch, which pains me to say because I'm one of the biggest Larry Mack fans out there in the business. What was I going to say? Peter in the chat. I know we would cite him a lot. He's a good dude, obviously knows his stuff. But he brought up something that you and I also brought up, I think, earlier, Jarrett, before the show. NASCAR is the biggest motorsport series in America. They control a lot. And when we talk about is the market non-competitive? Are they doing things actively to stamp out competition? Maybe that's all debatable, but Peter mentioned the SRX. They showed us how hard it is to form a rival stock car-esque oval series in America when NASCAR is the giant. Is NASCAR to blame strictly for the SRX going under 3 years in? Probably not. Well, but it is something the teams can point to. Hey, you're telling us that if we don't like NASCAR, we should go do our own thing. SRX had a deal with ESPN and CBS and couldn't make it last.
Well, and I will add this. I won't say who the reporter was, though if anyone's been watching a while, they probably have figured out who. But we talked to a reporter at SRX the year that was the Elliott Bowl, basically. Bill and Chase racing against each other in Nashville. And he made it a very big point that NASCAR was not happy with the fact that Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and especially Chase Elliott were racing. They were watching it like a hawk. They were pissed. They were pretty pissed that their big stars, some of the best drivers in the history of their sport are going and racing in a league that, yes, walked back these statements, but literally were taking shots at NASCAR in the marketing, saying we're doing racing done right, no stupid gimmicks, fun flag included. They were doing all of this different stuff that was clearly a dig at NASCAR, with Tony Stewart, who was clearly pissed off at NASCAR, Ray Evernham, who had distanced himself from it. They were not happy at all, and they were definitely, based on reports at the track at that point, they were mulling over the next year of just banning NASCAR drivers from doing that altogether. They might have publicly gave a nice little smile, wink, and said, "Okay, you go get him, Chase." They were not saying that behind closed doors. They were pretty pissed, and they were also pissed by the fact that was New Hampshire weekend. That a lot of the reporters skipped New Hampshire to go to the Nashville Fairgrounds for an SRX race. Like, that was one of the big talking points of that weekend too. So I mean, this has been building for a while. We all knew it was going to happen. Now it's just a matter of how far does it go? And it's going to be a long time. This is not going to be something that goes away in the off season. This is going to be a story we're going to be following probably into next year. And if it goes long enough, maybe 26. And from there, it's like, it affects so many other things too. Like,
I'll just say this: I'm done underestimating things.
Yeah.
2 years ago, in like January, February, March, Kyle Busch is probably going to get a deal done with Joe Gibbs Racing. They're not breaking that up. What on earth? Wow, that turned out to be quite the saga. 12 months ago, yeah, it's tense, but they'll get a deal done. They have to. Both sides need each
I mean,
other.
they mostly
Wow.
did through
Yeah,
force.
13 out of 15. Yeah, through force to some degree did. Yeah, I'm never underestimating one of these massive stories ever again. Want to be clear one more time. I hope we're not coming off as like way too pro teams here, because I do think it's only fair we give NASCAR the opportunity to respond, and they haven't. All we've heard really today is from Jeffrey Kessler, who represents the teams, obviously. Listening to his argument, I'm like, all right, there's compelling parts to it for sure. But until we kind of see the full story, I feel like we would not be doing our due diligence if we fully jumped on board siding with one group or another without hearing the full picture. So hopefully we just sort of dove into most of the details here in this show.
Well, and I'll say this. We have also, and I think been the loudest of us on this. I've been saying like, okay, you got something, put it out there. Like, you say all this stuff's wrong, but you will never go into detail. Put it out there. This probably was the end goal at a certain point, 23-11, and then at one point probably front row, which they should not be forgotten in this because they are a big part of it too. And I think, I can't remember, I think it was Jeff Gluck who said, one of the team owners said, I'm glad they had the balls to do what I couldn't. Their words, not mine. But we've been saying, like, show us what you got. Like, if you really got something, you're going to have probably the fans on your side. And based on what I've seen on a lot of different social media platforms and people I've talked to that I know, like industry and friends alike, they have a lot of people on their side and they put that out there. That's why, like, I'm happy to see the other side, because NASCAR has basically been in control of the conversation all year long. And now we finally have the team side of it, because I guarantee you this is not just two teams. This is what every team thought, but they're just letting these two basically face the fire.
Yeah, I think because teams like Hendrick and Gibbs, their manufacturer relationships, I think they have too much to risk losing to go out on a limb like this. But Front Row in 23-11, Front Row is not a new team, but they're both newly competitive, trying to expand. Like, they are on the come up. They're not established yet as championship teams.
To Front Row's credit, they're a tier one team now. Like, they have a lot to lose that they built up. So is
23-11, but both teams are reliant on alliances with Gibbs and or Penske. So that's what I'm saying, is they're not like the go-to number one team to that manufacturer.
I want Front Row to get their flowers on this, because like they spent 20 years building this up. Like, 23-11 could probably, with Michael Jordan, reimburse all the work. If the team went under tonight, they could reimburse the workers for 5 years. No problem with the money and the assets that Michael Jordan, Airspeed, all of that have. So it's like, I want to give them their credit, because they're going to be like the forgotten stepchild in all of this.
Yeah,
like
the headline will be Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
Bob Jenkins is not a name that
that
gets headlines.
They're like, they'll be like, oh, we got Michael Jordan, a guy with a lot of Taco Bell and Long John Silver chains. Like, that's what they're, the pictures are gonna be of Michael Jordan, and maybe Denny Hamlin will like be sitting there like a parrot on his shoulder. Like, that'll be it. Like,
I just want them all to celebrate with Doritos Locos Tacos and Baja Blast. When this whole thing gets done.
They got a big Cheez-It now. It's like this, like,
I need to try that if it's still around.
I tried one and I was like, it was okay.
Taco Bell's always rotating in and out like the same items throughout the year, or like they're tweaking the ingredients. It's like, how many more combinations of meat, cheese, tomatoes, beans can you possibly come up with? But somehow they find a way. They had to Cheez-It.
How many gut bombs can we do? Cheez-It flavored.
Yeah, I remember when the Doritos tacos came out, I thought, oh, that's a fun fad, and here they are like 15, 20 years later, however long it's been, and they're going strong.
They're a favorite, man. They're a favorite.
Yeah,
but
how about that?
I think, we'll wind this down, and then we got one more segment before we head into Talladega, and that is our prediction segment. So each host makes up to 3 NASCAR motorsport show related predictions. I'm sure there will be plenty of fun ones this week. We will keep track each week of the right and wrong predictions, try and keep them concise within a certain amount of time. I have Danny's. I will read Danny's predictions off once we start it up, but let's get to the accountability session first, starting with moi. I got a few right here. I said Carl Edwards would be spotted at least one NASCAR race in 2024. He was the pace car driver this weekend for the Cup race.
There you go.
I also said at least one person will come up during my Cup post-race stream. I had a few people come up, including the child who was crawling underneath me while I was talking to 600 plus people. So that was fun.
No respect from children these days.
These young whippersnappers.
Don't they know we are social media superstars? Get it together.
Don't you know the world revolves around me?
Who do they think they are?
Eric, you had a good week as well. He said Connor Zilch would be top 5, and you said you beat me in pickleball, which we have. We have the video of.
There weren't really any rules to this pickleball. We kind of just played.
It landed on my side more often than not. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But by the way, I have to keep it muted because I found out it would be copyrighted. But Eric recorded his POV of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So this is
play. Can we talk over it? Oh,
yeah.
Is it playing?
Yeah. So you're like about 5 seconds behind me, but like Eric did a good job, and there's me in my lucky Percy Harvin jersey, and it was pretty good. The thing that sucks is about not having the audio is I can't do the thing at the end where we touch the paddles and went, ooh.
Yeah. That was fun, though. Actually, the video did come out pretty good. I've been practicing my pickleball. My fiance and I will go every now and then around the neighborhood. There's some pickleball courts, and we'll brush up on our skills. So that wasn't my first time wielding the paddle.
That was mine. It was more fun than I thought it would be.
It's quick to pick up and learn. And Denny Hamlin and everyone is onto something, I think.
Now to Danny. Danny went 2 for 4, 2 and 2. He said Danny Dye would be a first-round playoff exit. He was correct. He said Alex Bowman would score a top 10 at Kansas. He also was correct. He said something would catch fire, and again, correct me if I'm wrong in these last two. He said something would catch fire at Kansas during the weekend. I didn't see anything, but granted, I was in the stands. You can use royalty-free music. No, they were like playing some song from I think like the 90s or 80s or something on the background.
Yeah, we were like next to one of those stages. They were bumping music the whole time.
And then he said the photo finish would be shown at least 4 times during the broadcast on Sunday. Danny said that he would keep track of that and let us know if it happened. I never got a text from him on it, so
I can't imagine they showed it 4 times. I was watching the race, a good amount of the race on the monitors. Yeah, they definitely showed it once. I remember thinking, oh, they showed it once, and then I don't remember thinking them showing it again. Probably did show it at least one more time, though.
As for our prediction percentage, I am still leading at 45.31%. Eric almost at 36%, 35.9%. And Danny at 28.4%. All right. I'll get Danny's predictions out of the way so we don't overlap them because he sent these to me. First one he said was there'd be at least 2 flips across the top 3 series this weekend. He said that Hendrick Motorsports would have at least 2 cars finish top 5 at Talladega in the Cup race. And that Colleague Racing would not have a single car in the top 10 finishers of the Xfinity race.
Ooh, that's a bold one. I like that one.
I like it because they've been struggling lately.
Yeah, it's not the days of Justin Haley and who else did they have in those cars at that time? I guess Ross and
AJ
Allmendinger.
AJ was good, but it's like those cars just ain't there.
Yeah, AJ was in the mix at the end of the Atlanta race and then spun.
Yeah. Going to my prediction, first one. Well, Danny's kind of sniped one from me, so let's go with this one. A Ford will win the Cup race.
That's probably 50-50, honestly. That might even be like a 60-40, yes. All right. I think we looked at the truck Final Four. I think one of the big 3 will miss. Sorry, we looked at the playoffs, but I think one of the big 3, that's Eckes, Heim, Majeski, will miss the championship 4.
That's good.
I like that. When you talked about Enfinger, I like that a lot. And I was thinking about this prediction.
I will say this. There will be a 13 or more car wreck in one of the Talladega races this weekend. I think we're going to see a really big one, especially the full field in all 3 series. The odds have went up a lot.
Okay. I'm going to stick with trucks for one more here. This is looking ahead to next year, so mark the page down, Jarrett. I think Caden Honeycutt makes the playoffs next year.
I can see that. I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So going to the third one. This prediction segment goes way too quick when Danny's not here because we don't have the
I like
3
it. We're
rotation.
rapid fire.
Just boom, 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 boom. So my last one here. I'll go next year as well. Since Danny sniped mine for this weekend I was going to have with the flips. I will say this. Bubba Wallace will make the 2025 Cup playoffs next year. I think that him, Buescher, Chastain, like I
You think they all make it next year? This is off the record. Do you think all 3 of them make it?
Yes, I do. I think they're way better than the playoff results showed this year. And I think that I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to have, Harrison Burton, Cindric, Suarez. Briscoe might win in the place of Truex.
He'll take Truex's place. Yeah. So that's
and I think somebody like there's a lot of guys this year with like one win in there that might not have a win next year, might make it on points too. I think they'll be all right.
My final prediction, I think Ryan Preece will deliver a Ricky Bobby quote at some point during the TV broadcast this weekend, Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to try to pay attention. I don't expect you to watch every second of practice and qualifying. If I can't find it, that's on me. I'm going to do my best to stay up to date and see if he does it. He's got the Wonder Bread scheme once again.
You know what?
I sure do love Fig Newtons.
I'm just looking at the chat and Cars Boy 95. Jeff, your little boy is flipped.
That's so screwed up.
They put so many memes about that call. Great call, but it's such great meme material.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for the prediction segment, which will send us into Talladega weekend. And there's a lot to go over on this one. Eric, I know you're going to like what comes up in this segment. First off, there's some new aero changes. We're going to have a shark fin go all the way. I guess I'll use a Gen 6 car for this. Not just all the way up here on the right side, but all the way up to here. We almost got a Mohawk on the front windshield. Thank God we didn't. I know a lot of drivers are like, let's not do that. I don't want to like get caught out and have bad vision of any point. But we got a triple header this weekend at Talladega instead of double. So Friday night, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time is a Love's RV Stop 225. 85 laps, 20-20-45 are the stage breakdowns. FS1, the Fox Sports app on MRN and SiriusXM. Defending winner of this race is Brett Moffitt. The forecast looks to be about 80. Rain early in the day, 40% chance, so it tapers down as the day goes on. So we should be all right. The Xfinity race, United Rentals 250, 94 laps, 25, 25, and 44 is the breakdown. 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the CW. MRN, SiriusXM as well on that one. Partly cloudy, 84 degrees, 9% chance of rain. Defending winner of the fall race, last one was in 2022, AJ Allmendinger.
Real quick, so the truck race is sponsored by Love's. Mm-hmm. The Xfinity race is sponsored by United Rentals. That means we're going to get another Lane Riggs win and another Austin Hill win. It's been written in stone.
Get the tinfoil. Get the tinfoil hat.
Yep. Open your books.
Open your books and your minds. The Cup race on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time is the Yellowwood 500. 188 laps, 60, 60, 68 laps for the stages, which putting you on the spot, I think it's a yes. Do we see a bunch of fuel mileage during the stages?
Oh, I mean, probably. At least the first two stages, probably.
This will be a race defended by Ryan Blaney. 80 degrees is the forecast. Partly cloudy, 15% chance of rain. This will be on MRN Sirius XM. But the big part is it's the first of the last, I believe, 6 races on Big NBC to close out the year.
Ooh.
So as long as we don't get rained out or yellow lined out or green-white checkered out, we should stay off of cable the rest of the year.
Very exciting. Absolutely. But what's more exciting?
The pick points. Eric has actually extended his lead. 458 is the total he has. 9 points over the chat. I am the only one that held steady this week. I'm minus 15. Didn't lose anything to you in third. Danny minus 25 in fourth. And it's been a rough week. Chat needs to get their act together because we only have 6 races remaining this year, and they have been bleeding points like they're Ross Chastain in the regular season. It has been rough for the chat, and if they lose this championship, their fall needs to be studied. Let's look at the weekend. Who's going to win these races, starting with the Truck Series? Danny sent me all of his picks, including Suck and Dark Horse. So for the Truck Series, he is picking Corey Heim, to win. And I'm going to go with somebody who's been pretty solid at leading laps, solid at consistency. I don't think he's going to want to murder somebody after this race. That is Nick Sanchez.
Okay.
Nice callback there, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's everyone's sleeping on this guy. I can't believe it. This is big.
I had to pick mine. I think I might know the Oldsmobile.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you not make your pick?
I said Sanchez.
Oh yeah, I was about to say. You made your pick. My bad. It looks like they're going Enfinger maybe in the 9.
They're going Enfinger.
Oh my gosh. Do I do this? Do I take him?
do it.
No, I don't think I should do it. Do you know who I'm going to say, Jarrett?
I have an idea. His number's been put in a few times in the chat.
I don't think you were on the same page because I don't think this
Oh.
number's gone in the chat once. I might do it. This is stupid. This is stupid, chat. This is stupid. Ryan Reed is going to
That's
win
right.
the truck race. He's in a McAnally truck. He used to be so good at Daytona back in the old Roush days. I know he's rusty. That's why this is a dumb pick, but Talladega's dumb. Dumb things happen.
I hope
Ryan Reed is
He
going to
got
win
royally screwed in his career. I hope he does. I hope he does.
it. I hope he at least gets a top 5. I'll feel so good next week.
Let's go to the Xfinity Series. I hope he does, man. Danny is picking Austin Hill as his win pick, which Talladega. That's actually
fine.
I mean that's actually off a little off the beaten path. He's never won, I don't think, at Talladega. I'm gonna go defending.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna go defending winner and say Love.
Yeah, Jesse Love was on my list, so I didn't even bother writing Austin Hill down. I figured someone was going to take him. Y'all are really dunk. Oh, I hope what this Ryan Reed pick pans out because folks are sleeping on Ryan. They forgot about Ryan Reed in the mid 2010s.
I ain't dunking on it. I've learned my lesson, man. I've talked too much crap before on this show and paid the price for it. I ain't making that mistake again.
They might be going Allmendinger. I see a good number of 16s and AJs.
16s.
I had Jordan Anderson's in this race.
Then a couple 88s. Well, a lot of them are Spencer.
Is Zilich in the 88 this week?
I think so.
Yeah.
Unless it's
Super
like
Speedway.
Truex.
I think they're going AJ.
There's some 20s for Almirola. I'll put a 16 and a 20.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, there's a few 20s.
I'm just gonna enter me. Pull. That meme is never gonna die.
Why did he write that way? What happened? What possessed him?
I don't know why, but it's worth it. It was worth it. Wow. Okay, now it's changing. I'm like, that was way too. Wow.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised.
Hot damn.
It's coming back. All right, count him down. Give him like 10 seconds or something.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, I'm kidding. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the poll, it's 20.
Wow, they're going with Almirola. Okay. I really thought it looked like AJ had the lead.
I didn't do the full reference, but I was actually referencing a John Candy movie with Spaceballs. What happened to 7? Just kidding.
Speaking of 7, I will go Justin Allgaier for the win. I think he bounces back in a big, big way.
Allgaier. He is so inconsistent when it comes to our picks. Like he'll crash out one week and dominate the next. Yeah. So Cup suck picks. Danny is going with Priest. I'm gonna have some fun with this one. I'm gonna go Denny Hamlin.
Bold. I'll go Truex. I guess the chat should go first, but I guess we're not going for points here, so we can kind of go in any order. I will go Truex.
Let's see where they're going. They're all over the place. But I'm seeing a lot of Larsons. I'm gonna laugh when they all pick him to suck once at one of these, especially if it's like Daytona 500 and Larson goes out and wins it.
They should get negative points if they do that. I still believe that if you pick someone to suck and they actually win the race, you should get like minus 10 points.
Then everyone would just go for like JJ Yaley and like all the people.
I guess,
in the
but like, okay, I guess maybe we make a top 30 rule. You have to pick someone top 30 in points. I don't know.
We have more parameters to keeping the performance high than NASCAR does with the playoffs.
We have higher standards than NASCAR does. Yeah. Okay. So what's next? Underdog.
So Danny has Kyle Busch. I'm gonna take Justin Haley in the 7.
I'll just throw mine out there. I kind of like Zane Smith. I don't know why. Just want to see maybe the Spire guys work well together, and he just sort of surprises us at the end. It's kind of a shot in the dark.
Yeah. And then where are we at? Well, I'm seeing
a lot of Todds. Yeah, Todd Gillen. That's not a bad underdog pick, actually.
Let's do it. The Todd father. Alrighty, which means we have our win pick. Hey, I remember to do all the graphics this week. How about that? Well, I'm so much better than I used to be. Danny, he told me he's got a feeling about it. He thinks it's going to work out well. Guy's been fast at these tracks. He's going Alex Bowman. He's going
Of course,
Alex
he's not
Bowman.
here. He's not here in person to defend his boy.
I saw a lot in the chat putting 48.
Bowman's a good pick.
I said a Ford's going to win. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. And I think the best Ford at the super speedways consistently is going to win. That is Ryan Blaney. I think Blaney will get the win.
Thought you might go Cindric there.
Nah, because he is very much like vaulted up by Atlanta, and that's just a different beast altogether. So the chat, I've saw a lot of 9s. A lot of people are believing in Chase. A lot of people believing in Kyle Busch.
There are a lot of 9s. There's some 8s.
I'm gonna make a poll for him.
I think it should be between the 9 and the 8. It might be the 8. I don't know.
Be the one time that we actually could see Kyle Busch win a fan vote over Chase Elliott.
Wow.
Poll?
The FBI is in the chat. Did you see that? They went by really fast.
Yeah, I saw that. Did I ever tell you about the time that me and John did an event on my channel for like an iRacing event, and we actually had Wendy's in the chat because they thought our race.
Oh yeah,
they
was
thought
the Coke race.
Yeah, they thought we were the Coke race because the production was so high on that one. So like Wendy's was responding to people in the chat for like half the damn race.
That's so funny. Shout out Wendy's.
Alrighty, the poll is up, and
it's pretty close.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Well, they picked C. Wasn't even an answer choice.
I didn't realize that we could pick Ryan Truex for this race now. I mean, the votes just went down. Okay, now they went back up.
I just sort of counted down and hit go.
I don't know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End poll. It's Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch won a fan vote over Chase Elliott.
I am livid. I thought there was no chance Kyle Busch would be taken off the board before me. That was going to be my pick. I'm not even joking. I had Kyle Busch.
They sniped you, man.
Back to the drawing board. Let's see. Who else did I write down? Well, I don't have a ton of faith.
I didn't realize he's in the Lucas car this weekend.
Oh,
damn it.
I'm even more upset.
No.
Chat. Oh.
Good call, chat.
Yeah, the chat might have got us on this one. But all right, I will go with what I think is a solid backup pick. Could obviously crash out knowing my luck, but Joey Logano, can trust him to lead laps. I think he'll be in the mix.
Hey, buddy, it's an even year. It's an even year.
The thing is, I'm not sold Logano's going to advance past this round, but like if he is, it's going to be because he wins or does really well at Talladega. So I'll take Joey.
So we're having two forces of nature here that no one thought could be stopped. Even year Joey Logano and Lucas Oil Kyle Busch. Who's gonna win? It's like Ryan Blaney and Alex Bowman. Damn,
I'm excited. I still love my Ryan Reed pick. Y'all can dunk on it all you want. When he runs top 5 and surprises folks, I'll be here. You'll know where to find me.
There was no dunking from here. None from me, man.
No, not at you. I'm looking at the chat. I'm not looking at you, Jarrett. You're cool. I get you. Yeah, sip on your water. You're chilling. It's the chat.
Always chilling. All right, let's get to the final super chat stage break to end this baby off. Starting with Fred Dog. He was the last one I believe we have on here. Saying Michael Jordan is taking it personally, NASCAR. Ooh.
And I took that personally.
I took it personally.
I did the pose pretty good.
All right, let's go to the next one before we get too caught up on that one. Hunter Nixon fishing for the 5. Was really wanting Busch to get close to Earnhardt and win. Sad it probably won't happen.
Is he at 63?
Something like that. And Dale's at 76. That ain't happening.
3 or 4 years ago, it looked like a real possibility. Like it almost looked like a sure thing. And now, yeah, it is kind of sad.
I just go back to that episode.
I wanted it to be close.
Go back to that episode we had Mamba on where he was saying that Kyle Busch was going to break all these records. And I was like, no, he is going to fall off at some point near his 40s. And I'm like, damn, that was one of the best calls I ever made.
We got to find that. We got to find that clip.
I got to find it somewhere. But
yeah, you need to put that in a museum.
It belongs in a museum. So do you. Soupy Spirit for the 5 saying NASCAR will win the lawsuit. 2311 and FRM don't have much of a case. Anyone wanting them to win has wishful thinking.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I don't think anyone knows for sure how. I'd love to see a true expert. I just see reporters talk about it. who maybe have some experience looking at court cases and lawsuits, but I've yet to see someone besides Jeffrey Kessler, who is obviously paid by one side, to objectively analyze this. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear what the odds are of it going one way or another.
The next one here is from Shannon Sharp.
Whoa. Okay.
Stay off Instagram, buddy. MJ doesn't have Pippen or Jackson, so he'll fail. Yeah, the whole Sharp family, just stay away from Instagram.
Nice.
The People's Champ 42, I know who you are. For the 2 saying the bad aura of LaJoy is still haunting the 7.
Yeah, it literally looked like he was like caught, like spooked by a ghost. Just
I felt so bad that I actually in the stands when I was taking notes wrote LaJoy spins. I was like, shit, that's not him.
Oops. Yeah, out of habit.
Oops.
Whoops.
VA Sensation with the 5 saying DVP was for safety to not have damaged slow cars on the track getting run up on. Oddly, drivers now beg for slow cars like the Arby's car.
That's a good comment, actually. That's a good point.
Stephen A. Smith in the chat with the 2 here saying MJ's killer instinct guarantees his lawsuit victory.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
These are pretty good.
There's a first take NASCAR edition in the chat right now.
Are you serious? Really?
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like Stephen A. Smith versus Shannon.
I was
Sharp.
like, so they make so many of these different accounts.
No, it'd be funny if we had an official like verified account in the chat, but no, unfortunately, we do not.
Skip. Fred Dog with 5 saying Cole Custer failed his NXT sponsor. He should have wrestled Chandler Smith to the ground and put him in a headlock after the Xfinity race.
Yeah, oh my God, that'd be funny if he did go full wrestling, full heel, just for the sponsor.
Gavin with the 5 saying NASCAR has been trying to cut costs for almost 20 years. I watched the 2007 spring Bristol race, and one of the key points was the COT was cutting costs. Yep.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for that damn long. Ferg for the 2 saying NASCAR should do a boat race at Bristol like in Rome. Yeah, I feel like that would be I feel like a lot of people would see doing a boat race at Bristol right now after all the flooding going on is a little insensitive. So I don't think NASCAR would want to optically do that. But I'd be down seeing a boat race at Bristol.
Have you ever been to like a boat racing event? Do those like actually happen?
No, they happen. I've never been to one, but
like, what's the viewing experience like? Do you just like go and you see them take off into the surf into the distance?
It's probably like running a marathon. It's like, and there they go. And it's like
3 hours later.
Here they come back. Well, I mean, it's like a Kenyan dude. It's probably like 2 hours later. I speak from experience. Garabuki with the 5 saying we live in a timeline where there were more tempers flaring after an Xfinity Kansas race than the entire Bristol weekend.
True, honestly. That's a good point. Weird.
Spencer with the 39-month member chat. Damn. Congrats, Astros, on winning the wild card. Oh, wait.
Who was that, Spencer?
That was Spencer.
Where are your Red Sox at, buddy?
I
don't think they made the playoffs. Have they made the playoffs this decade?
Eric is keeping the receipts, man.
I think he's a Red Sox fan. I hope I'm not wrong about that.
No,
and I like the Red Sox, but you can't come at me and not expect an arrow in return.
Oh man. Let's see. Bobby Blair with the 5 saying Danny and Jarrett, y'all have serious work to do this offseason. Show Eric some damn John Candy movies.
I'll watch a John Candy movie. I mean, I've seen Home Alone. I know who he is now. I didn't know that was his name. I apologize.
No,
I'm not going to apologize for not knowing an actor.
No, you should.
Okay. All right.
No. We were going to start you on Uncle Buck. All right. You got Macaulay Culkin in there. It's a good movie. Like you'll like Uncle Buck.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Macaulay Culkin was in that.
Take this quarter and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face.
Are these all like 90s movies?
90s, 80s.
Because I feel like I guess I hit on a good amount of 80s movies as a kid, but I feel like I missed a lot of 90s movies. I don't know why.
I think I was actually talking to my dad about this weekend. The 90s is literally my favorite movie decade. Like there's
Cars
so many.
Boy says, We need an Eric apology video.
I am sorry. I've never seen John. Oh, we got Skip in the chat.
I'm gonna start like this. I didn't want to have to make this video.
No, man, you gotta get a ukulele for your apology video.
Just have like a dog off camera, like, hey buddy, it's gonna be okay.
And go in the middle of a Japanese forest for it.
Yeah, how many emotionally manipulative plants can we include in this video?
And totally in no way refer to money about any of it whatsoever. CBB with the 5. Eric, if you really went to film school and don't know who John Candy is, you should call MJ's lawyer because you probably have a suit ripe for litigation.
I think the university does. They sold me a fraudulent degree.
Ross Chastain, thanks for the 11-month member chat, saying the GOAT returns to Cup. Praise Ty Dillon.
Someone had to. Did he make it through lap 1 this last weekend? Wait, no, he didn't. Shoot. I didn't even mean that as a dig. I was trying to remember if he was in that lap 1 crash, and then I remembered he was.
Oh my God. NASCARson with the 10. Hey NWP guys. Kansas trucks. Poor Majeski. Lucky Heim. Xfinity. Awesome Almirola win with great driver arguments. Cup. Poor Busch. Boo. Finish was not like May. Still was fun though.
It was still okay race. You're not going to get May every year.
SK Abels for the 5 says 48 car championship season looks like the best Hendrick car right now. Consistency.
I think he's in the mix. He is in the mix. I wouldn't have said, like, over the summer, I'm like, he's consistently like in 8th place. That's good, not great. Now he's consistently like in 4th place. And it's like that you can do something with that.
Dude, I've been on this point since his 4-win season that he needs to lead laps. And now, like this past weekend, he led laps. And I'm like, if we get more of that, he consistently puts that together. Ooh. He's going to be dangerous. That team, like people forget before he broke his back, he was one of the best drivers in NASCAR.
He's been, I mean, he makes the round of 12 every year he's in the playoffs.
Yep.
And if not further.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. NASCARson for the 2 saying, how was Kansas in person, Eric and Jared? I said throughout the show, I liked it a lot. I very much approve.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. That was all the races I thought were pretty good. Good facility. Recommend it.
ManDude03 videos for Canadian 5 says Eric doesn't know much about Canadian actors. He is from Texas after all.
Is John Candy from Canada?
I'll let you find out on your own.
Oh, is that like a big part of his brand? I don't.
I'm gonna make you learn on your own.
Okay.
I'm ashamed, buddy. I'm ashamed.
Okay.
You need to know
All
John
right.
Candy. This is like when I said Yosemite wrong. Like I should be shamed for that.
Why did Danny saying? Didn't he say Busey's the first time?
No,
I'm sorry. I'm throwing stones now to hide my own insecurities. I shouldn't do that. I'm sorry.
No, we'll show you in January a few of them. CBB with the 5 here says NASCAR has to file a response to the complaint within 21 days of being served notice of being sued, or they'll lose by default. So we will see their side.
Ooh, interesting. There we go. There's some actual legal analysis from someone who might know more than we do. Love it.
Probably knows more than we do.
Yeah.
My dad again with the 10 here says I won 1,000 on Eric in pickleball. Woohoo!
Woo! I threw the game. No, I'm kidding. Suspended for life.
I'm just going to get that tinfoil hat. That's why I lost. Will Griffin with the 5 saying, first off, the charter is hurting field sizes and I don't like it. Secondly, I want teams to get the DVP and the win and in abolished. Wishful thinking. Yeah, I think it's all wishful thinking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
NASCAR Shill, the greatest parody account in all of NASCAR social media.
Is it parody at this point? I'm convinced this might be Jim France's burner.
Well, he says Jim France won't bow down to these insolent teams.
Insolent teams. That's kind of fun. 2311 or someone should put that on a t-shirt.
Skip Bayless here with the 2.
Oh, no.
MJ will win in court as he is undefeated in finals.
Unlike LeBron.
Or the Cowboys.
6-0 in the finals.
Every year. Cowboys going to the Super Bowl. Every year, Skip burns his Cowboys jersey.
Yeah, I look forward to the annual Twitter video of 80-year-old Skip Bayless spiking his Dak Prescott jersey into the trash can. That's such a funny video.
I'll tell you this though, I give him credit. That dude, that's pretty ripped for being that as old.
Oh
as
yeah,
he
he's
is.
like, oh no, he's in great shape. He's great on TV. I'm not here for the Skip Bayless slander. He plays his part well.
Skip.
He amuses me.
Yeah, Skip. Fred Dog with the 5 says you should start Eric on planes, trains, and automobiles for Thanksgiving. It is peak John Candy.
Sounds good.
Steve Martin's in that one too.
Oh yeah, who doesn't love Steve Martin?
Elijah. Elijah with the 2 says somebody get Legal Eagle on the phone. I don't know what his rate is.
Yeah. How much does he charge for a 2.5 hour podcast? That's funny.
Zardy with the 2 says which driver looks and acts. I'm not gonna finish the rest of that, but
oh, what did they say? Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that's probably not appropriate.
Look at an article from The Onion and you might find out. I think they actually had one like that.
I was on NASCAR.com today. Pray for me, and there was like a banner ad for it was like a NASCAR driver personality quiz. It was like what NASCAR driver most matches your personality, and I was very intrigued. I'm like, I kind of want to play this and see how it goes. But yeah, I don't know if
did you?
No, I did not. I did not play it. I'm sorry. Let me pull it up right now. Let me see what it looks like. How do I get it? It was like a banner ad. Let me see this. Is that the last super chat?
Yeah.
NASCAR personality.
NASCAR shill. It is the greatest website ever. I love that account, man.
What is happening? This website. Find out which NASCAR drivers are most like you. Get started. All right, this is exciting. Oh no, I have to enter my name, email, birthday. What the hell?
Social security number, bend over, all of it.
All right, this isn't going to be good for a podcast.
Cough.
I'll do us off camera maybe.
But that will do it for this week. I appreciate everybody coming out. We will, again, I promise you, we will have Danny B come back next week because he's hosting. So, like, even if he can't come back next week,
he'll be back.
I'll just do it from his house. I'll host the show.
We'll be sure of it.
He'll be back. So he'll be back October 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Fun night. Different night. I'll tell you
this
that.
was different. Just you and me. It was my voice is a little more tired than usual. I'm not used to this much talking. Maybe I'm coming down with something. I don't know.
No, Danny just got back from being sick. You can't get sick right after.
We catch things through this Zoom call. It's very contagious chat room we are in currently. Yeah. Oh god, like a little kid at the dentist.
Just David Draymond from Disturbed. Oh, wow.
This is such a fantastic audio experience for our listeners.
I know. Especially when we looked at our demographics. I'm sure they're gonna all love exactly what we're serving up.
I don't think that achieved any effect.
No, because it's like.
Can I let you in on like a secret?
Ooh.
For the past like 6 months, this is not a very exciting secret. For the past like 6 months, this headphone, my left headphone, has been at like half the volume as my right headphone. And it used to piss me off, but now I'm like just used to it. And that's like kind of weird, right? Am I weird for that? I've had these headphones for 8 years. Should I just get new ones? Chat. Do you have any headphone recommendations?
They're like AirPods.
He said might be a hearing issue. No, I swear it's just these headphones. It's this ear thing is just like, it's not great.
Oh, I'm looking at the Dave. Look at the one you see in the chat.
Well, I don't know if I'm laughing at this. I'm laughing at NASCAR shill immediately says, go to racing electronics. That's so funny.
I was looking at David with the Kyle Busch profile pic who keeps spamming the same damn thing in the chat.
I missed it. Wait, where is it at?
He's like right on, like, there he goes. He just put one in. He keeps spamming the same damn thing and it's funny as hell to me.
Am I on like I'm on top chat? I gotta go to all chat.
Yeah. Go to all chat.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was on there. Oh, I see it now. Yeah, okay. Why does he keep
spamming it? And I'm like,
I see why the YouTube filters filtered that out.
It's like,
thank you for the headphone recommendations. I need to do some Googling. I've legit had these since like I started college, so it's been like 7 years.
Hey, I give them credit.
They're dying on me. These are like, I don't even know what these are. They have the PlayStation logo on them. I think they came with my PS4. I don't even know.
when we all got that for playing Heat 3.
Yeah, but honestly, maybe like he's
Yeah. It's probably around the same time we all got Heat 3, and we're like, I'll give that guy credit for his request, man. Like, you spelled my name right?
I am laughing about the racing electronics. Someone said, "Don't forget to return your headphones after each podcast." Wait. Here's a good one to end on. Mikey in the chat just said, "Chat, I need you guys to come support me at the mullet contest at Talladega Saturday at 1:00.
Ooh.
I did see they're doing that. They've done that in the past. Let's pull for Mikey here. Chat, if you're going to the mullet competition, cheer for our boy Mikey here.
Yeah,
get him some votes.
I want to see an update. So,
yeah,
but I get it. That's a good way to end off. That is a good way to end off.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Later, everybody.
Thanks for watching, listening.
Later.
Someone said Josh Williams is there. He's screwed. Probably true.
Drivers!
Sorry.
Start your engine!
Ready. Green flag. All rolling. All the way out. Stay in. Come on. Bye-bye, Conan. See you later. These guys are really good. Keep digging. Stay in the gas. Hang on, dude, baby. Did not hit a thing. Why you wait so long, man? Bottom clear, shaking you down here. White flag. Hit your mark.